Welcome to Comix Asylum Live with Steve and Jay. Welcome, everybody. We are here for the first time in 2025, and we are honored to have some guests with us tonight. Going around the horn, starting, I guess, beside Jay, we've got Walt, and underneath him, Adriano, and then Vaughn, guest of the show from the past. And, of course, our men in the middle, Mega J Retro. How you doing? And then I am Steve. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Asylum. So let's start with Walt. Introduce yourself, let us know what you're doing, and how's 2025 been to start for you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I am Walter Durilia, own Bigby Comics in Hamilton. I also have the ICE website, the ICE Collectibles, and we just started, like you guys now, I started a YouTube thing a couple of weeks ago on ICE, so we're doing top 10 things, and so it's going pretty good. It's more fun than anything else, but yeah, I'm here to talk diamond like the rest of you guys are.
Yeah, for sure. That's the hot news right now. And Adriano, you've got like a Kickstarter that is absolutely scorching right now. Let us know what's going on with you.
Yeah. So my name's Adriano. You can find me Pesto Comics on everything, and yes, I've steered clear of the diamond mess for now because I'm doing everything self-pub through Kickstarter. It's going very well. So yeah, I got one going on right now called Naked Kaiju Woman. It's it's kind of self-sustaining at this point. People are finding it pretty easily, so very happy with all that. But yeah, all good vibes on my end. Very happy with how that's all going.
Perfect. And Vaughn, you better mention your first place standing right now. Don't leave that out.
First place. Right now, I just came back from axe throwing, so first place for now in my local axe throwing league. But I really just came on to give everybody a little quick shout out. I won't be able to stay long because I got early meetings tomorrow.
Practices axe throwing.
Yeah.
That first place up.
Yeah, but I just wanted to at least show my face and congratulate Walt for putting together the YouTube, because I know that's something that he was looking to do for a while. And he's been asking his questions and everything. So I just really wanted to jump on and give the thing. I've watched all the diamond drama unfold during the day as I work through multiple streams like Perch Comics and all these other guys. So I won't really be putting much additional input in. But I at least just wanted to jump on and just wish everybody the best. Wish Pesto Comics the best as well too, with his Kickstarter and everything, and Walt with his big jump into YouTube. I think there's quite a bit that based on his background, as with ICE and collectibles as a whole, I think he has a lot to offer in the YouTube sphere. So that's great to see that's happening. But that's really what I wanted to think. So keeping it short and quick, I wanted to jump on for that. And there's also just a quick note. I don't know if any of our backers are going to be on here, but we just sent out the final issues out to the printer. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that. So we are hoping that within the next start of the season, we'll have all of our books, at least in floppy format, and we're looking into the graphic novel as next. So I just wanted to put that out there as well too, to the general audience as well too. So 2025 is going to be the year, baby. All it's going to be an interesting one with everything that's already happening already, and you're just in January, right? So like, go figure, right?
Man, we're like just over 2 weeks into January.
Oh yeah, so brace yourself, guys.
The entire world is on fire and going crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Literally
on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So go figure. But I'm gonna hang out for a little bit.
Sure, go ahead, Vaughn.
I might duck out in a little bit, but I just wanted to jump on and see your general conversation about how everybody feels about Diamond as a whole.
Yeah, well, stay for a little bit because we'd like to get some of your comments, and then even if it's you can add some of the stuff that some of the other channels have been throwing around. Yeah, that'd be great. And Jay, how about yourself?
It's been up and down, guys. 2025 is it has been a roller coaster. For everybody who's being affected by the events that are happening in California, our hearts go out to you, man. Like that's just a tragic thing that's happening out there. People losing their homes, people are losing. Some people are just like not coming back, right? So, yeah, it's been a difficult couple of weeks for a lot of people. My family's down there, about 40 miles out. My aunt and my cousins. So it was a pretty scary situation. But our hearts are with you guys, and we're all this is where the faith in humanity is restored, and the scumbags of the world come out and do their thing. So stay, keep safe, keep each other safe, and just watch out for each other. It's now that you have to watch out for the people you care about, because right now it's crazy. But other than that, great news on the horizon. Great news about Transformers getting a new web series. We're going to be touching on that later, and of course a whole bunch of things happening in the toy space. So it's rocking, man. The things are just going crazy right now.
Sweet. On my end, I've been quite busy. I've been involved in a film production, so that's why the show was on a bit of a hiatus over the break, and we're still in the middle of it. We're shooting it, and so consumed with that, as well as getting Atrium ready for the printers. And so, it's kind of nice having that chapter closed almost. And thanks to all of our backers for pushing us over the finish line. We really appreciate it. Would not be here without all of your support. But with that being said, let's dip into some news that, probably some people want to talk about. What is up with Diamond? Who wants to jump into this one?
Do you want to give a little background, or should we just go and jump right in?
Let's just go right in, because I think there's been enough of it. But Diamond has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which basically means they're going to be restructuring. They're having financial restructuring. And they had already closed their Plattsburgh operation. So basically, their distribution arm was out of like one center. And with that, and I was up in Montreal and talked to the good lads at Capitaine Quebec, and they were telling me stories about how some of their clients have been waiting for books that should have been shipped to them in November. So you've got that big delay. And then if we'll get into this with Adriano and Walt as well too. But if you're an independent publisher and you have your books with Diamond, I'm not quite sure what the next step is for you.
Yeah. So really quick, this has been a long time coming. Around 2020, DC decided to abandon Diamond in lieu of Penguin, as well as other smaller distributors. Shortly thereafter, in 2021, Marvel jumped ship and did pretty much the same thing. And then the big blow was another big blow in later that year was Image moving to Lunar. So I mean, it's just been a slow progression of decline. And I mean, like, when you really think about it, Diamond has had a monopoly on the industry for decades. I mean, they literally had a stronghold with Marvel and DC, and their practices. I'm just speaking from my own experience trying to deal with Diamond. I was speaking with the gentleman behind everybody here behind the scenes, and I tried. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of them here. Just give me 1 second. I'll just grab them. Hold on for a sec.
Hey, we get to look at his toys. What's he got on the shelf there? What is
he's got a lot of great stuff. He's got some Destro, Superman, He-Man.
I see that.
Yeah. For everybody, don't worry. Everybody can have have Gander. So a number of years ago, as most of the Comix Asylum crew know, myself and Hugh Rookwood, along with Marvin Mariano, we tried our best to actually publish several books, including Legend of Steel Breed. Couple of covers there, as well as Apocalypse 4, way back in the day. And we approached, sorry, wrong one. We approached Diamond about distribution. And,
Jay, can you show those again?
Sure. Yeah, and we approached Diamond, for small press distribution, and their minimum quantity order was 10,000. And I was literally like, we can barely print 1,000. You guys are killing us, right? And then they had at the time, this was like 15 years ago, they had a buyback policy. So, we're for small independent creators back then, and this was when Kickstarter was just in its infancy. So a lot of us didn't know where to turn at the time, and a lot of us were like, okay, how do you work with Kickstarter? What do you do? Are you going to be giving rewards for the rest of your life? Like, it was just this huge unknown at the time. So many of us just went the route, bit the bullet, and printed 1,000 books and distributed them locally, which was a nightmare. Like, we couldn't move anything at the time. So that was our experience with it. And then speaking to comic book stores, as you just said, Steve, sometimes they're a month late, sometimes they're a week late, right? And those are key sale times when you need to, when the hottest thing is going out the door, especially with how comics are, not selling as well as they used to from back in the day. Now it's really important to be on time when you want them on the newsstands. So it's just been a declining. They've been the Walking Dead for the last 3 years is my opinion on that for now.
Right. And Walt, from your vantage point, being a longtime store owner, I know you're not into the day-to-day now, but what have you seen over the years?
Well, like I talked to my manager today about it, and I think our shop probably reflects a lot of shops in Canada and the States too, is because of the slow sales. A lot of those indies, a lot of shops are just getting for pulls on those indies. There's not a lot of shops getting for the shelf anymore on those indies. It's not the freewheeling days where we're investing to try to grow our customer base. We're almost trying to stop bleeding in a sense. So we're very careful, like almost all shops are now, where, so it's affecting guys with, they're going to get their books anyway, but it's just waiting for them type thing. It's going in your pull. It hasn't got here yet, but it's going in your pull. The thing is, we're honestly not really missing the New This Week shelf, because we weren't ordering much from Diamond for the New This Week shelf because of the indie publishers, because we're petrified of, holding 10, 12, 15, 20 copies is something that nobody knows about per se. And again, 15 years ago, we would have put 5 on the shelf and try to coax people into getting them because the thing was growing. But now it seems everybody's in a bit of a retreat. So, but yeah, it's been a long, slow decline. Yeah, so, how there's a few toy lines as well. I don't know, you guys would know more, maybe more. There's a few toy lines I discussed with him today. Where are we going to source these now? So he's looking around, because I think there was a few toy lines we were only getting from Diamond, but I don't know. McFarlane, does that ring a bell? Like, we'd have to be able to source that somewhere else, no? So, the thing is with the small press stuff, that's the big hurdle. The big toy manufacturers and something, I think they're going to settle in on another distributor somewhere. We'll be able to find those somewhere, right? It's just those small publishers. But for us at the moment, it's really only affecting the pull subscribers, right? We're not really getting any for the New This Week right now. So.
Right. And Adriano, I know that you've done some deep dive in, because I follow you on Blue Sky. What is it from your perspective? And then, after we're finished with Diamond, we'll dig into how you're kind of skirting around it.
Yeah, no, we talked about it a bit beforehand, but they always made the threshold so high and so complicated to get in that it was, there was a last-ditch effort to say, hey, self-publishing indie guys, you want to publish with Diamond, now's the time. But, way too late in the game to start. And it was very unclear, very obscure how they were going to get indies involved in that to try to, after DC and Marvel fled, I guess they were trying to build up their stock and, all that together. But it way too late. And they've, all the horror stories you've heard over the many, many years of how Diamond treats the creative side of things and the stores in a lot of cases. So it was, it did feel like a long time coming. But if we're missing anything now, it's we always had a finger on the pulse of how comics were doing, because everything was through Diamond. So as much as it was very monopolistic and, you were kind of stuck working with them, we knew what the best-selling books were, right? Like, we knew what at least to the stores, what the sell-throughs were. And now we're doing this weird hodgepodge of voluntary, this is what's selling in my shop kind of thing. I forgot the name of that system that some of the shops are using. We're getting a sample. Or before, we were getting a wholesome idea of this is the health of the market. And now it's just so spread out and separated that we really don't have any idea. Like, how, it's one shop might be doing great, another one might be doing not so great, and we don't know because everybody's kind of doing their own thing with all these different distribution methods and that. So yeah, it's interesting world we're entering. It's probably overdue, but yeah, it's a little interesting, a little scary.
Sorry, I was just wondering, Luna doesn't publish any of their numbers?
Not that I've seen. They're using so it seems like it's getting caught up on the other end. So I forgot what the tool that they're using is that folks do their inventory with.
Okay.
And that's what we're using to see the sales, but it's not coming direct from Lunar as it would with Diamond, where we would get the monthly top 10 with like Batman and Spider-Man, whatever. Like this is how many of each. Like we don't have that anymore. We haven't had it since I don't know what 2018 or something like that. It's been a while that they stopped doing that, and then we had kind of the spread of distributors. But yeah, we were missing proper numbers.
We used to get numbers from ICV2. So where were they getting? Was that from?
Yeah.
Was that from Diamond?
Yeah, they would be getting that from Diamond, and now they're doing like an amalgam of like all different kinds of sources, and it's still an estimate, right? Okay. Where Diamond was a matter of fact. This is how many issues of X that we sent to this store or to stores in general, right? So now we're all guessing how well everything's doing, right? That's why you see a lot of Amazon lists, and like Amazon doesn't tell you how direct market's doing. It tells you how well Amazon's doing. So we're all kind of in the dark with how the whole industry is going.
Interesting.
And yeah, we always assume it's going worse than it is. I hope, right?
Yeah. Whoever is in charge of running the spreadsheets at ICV2 must be going bonkers right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no one source to go to, right? Like you're wishing and hoping and taking the word of shops that may want to inflate or deflate or whatever based on, right? So yeah.
So yeah. I think sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Walt.
Go ahead.
No, I think I discussed this with Steve years and years ago, and this is in no way a defense of Diamond. It's you can plug Diamond, any company, into the Diamond role. It could be Penguin, it could be whoever, right? 15 years ago when things started to roll a bit in 2010, 11, you got to remember they're dealing with 4,000 of the most unruly, unherdable cats, independent sole proprietor comic shop guys. It is chaos. There's no cohesion. There's no camaraderie. There's no pools of forming some sort of buying groups or advocacy groups. It's just Wild West. It's just guys trying to, oh, my statue got there's a scratch on it. Can I have my money back? Like my point is, whoever had that role to manage these small little comic shop sole proprietors, that was a tough job to begin with, right? And then I think somehow, I don't know, you guys can prove me wrong or just kind of philosophize through it and prove me wrong, is around 2011, 12, where we were onto a good thing. Like comic shops were doing great. It was the coolest place in the world was to come into a comic shop. We were riding the TV boom, we were riding the movie boom, we were riding everything. And inevitably, all other retailers, like Shoppers Drug Mart has vinyl pops now, right? The success, we couldn't contain or protect that success into our own little confines. I mean, the floppies were the only thing that kept, the monthlies were the only thing that kept, differentiated us for everything else. But all that other popular products was bleeding into the Barnes and Nobles, is the Indigo chapters is, and all the little tchotchkes were going into your Shoppers and all that kind of, in the mall stores and stuff. And I don't know if there was an opportunity there for local comic shops, Diamond per se, for us to work with them. And I guess it would be inevitable for it all to bleed over, but for us to protect that in a little bit, because we didn't. We were all acting like independent minded, scurrying like rats around, doing our own thing. And then, I'm not saying that the cumulative effect of mismanaged comic shops also led to Diamond's ruin, but maybe I am saying it, right? So
it must have some play into it, right? I get what you mean. Yeah, there's factors that scale with it, but also there's other factors that only so much can be done, right? No matter what.
Yeah. There's never one answer, right? Like it's easy to point and just say like, oh, it's because they didn't treat shops right, or the shops were too unruly, or whatever. It's usually all of those reasons plus a bunch we don't know. right? So I'm sure, yeah, like it was the one thing that was clear though was that they were not very quick to adapt, right? Like they had the system from the 90s, and they wanted to keep that system working through today, right? And there just hasn't been a better way of doing things, apparently, at least according to Diamond. There hasn't been a better way, and here we are, right?
I guess my point is, as overall, neither were we, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, neither were we. Like there were some front of the line shops that were trying different things, but generally speaking, 90% of us were derelict in our duties there too, right? And again, it's not letting Diamond off the hook. You know, they helped get us to where we are, which is not in a good spot, but I always sensed that there was some sort of missed opportunity as a collective of comic book shops across North America.
Yeah. Really quickly, Vaughn, did you have anything to add to the actual situation as present?
No, I the only thing that I can see that I was observing based on all the feedback that I've seen around the web so far, I felt like Diamond itself probably would have survived a couple more years doing whatever they're doing. But like anything, and even in what I do now these days, I think the pandemic fast-tracked a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And even like how they handled the pandemic, they were short by 6 months to almost a year in kind of converting and because they were like, they wanted to stay closed and everything. And that really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when a lot of comic shops were just trying to survive and nobody could get their books, right? So, and then that's where I think a lot of the big guys started jumping ships and some of that stuff from what I understood, right? So I would suppose, and it's not a great excuse, but I think a lot of things, like anything, would have been the status quo for a while, but the pandemic definitely did some damage in accelerating a lot of this in regards to even just general. I've seen other businesses as well too, without the pandemic, I think they would have survived probably another 5 to 10 years, but just that those 2.5, almost 3 years worth of, pandemic, whatever, really put a dent in a lot of businesses. So I'll give them a little bit of grace on that level. Granted, they didn't handle the situation the greatest, but I would have, I think a lot of people would have tagged along pretty fine. They would have limped along probably a couple more years without that being tossed on top of it all. It's like tossing kerosene on a fire and out as well too. So I think that's a lot of that what happened, right? Yeah. I think a lot of people accepted it as is, right?
Yeah, I think that as well. One of the other major factors is that we're starting to move into a digital world. The retail landscape across the nation, both whether it's like North America, is just ravaged. Yeah. Right now there's a delicate balance between brick and mortar and online, and you these days you have to have some online presence. I mean, every major institution right now has at least some sort of e-commerce development right now. McDonald's, you can order lunch and pick it up and never have to step foot in the store. You know what I mean? And of course you can have it delivered, and so many other outlets, including comics, have gone digital as well. So there's a lot to be said about how things are going to be consumed, and the younger generation, which of course is the target audience for everything, right? They pretty much don't even bother reading books anymore, like physical books anymore. I mean, everything's on iPads, everything's on downloadable or audiobooks. So it's a very transitional period for physical media right now. But it's also it's also interesting seeing people return to physical media. A lot of problems with Netflix and other streamable services. They're finding that when their license for a film runs out or a television series runs out, they have to take it off of their library, and that leaves people who paid specifically to get that show or that movie in the lurch, and they're now looking back towards rebuilding their digital library on Blu-ray and DVD. It's a very strange time right now. It's moving faster than anybody would have ever expected, but it's going back and forth. Vinyl is back in. Vinyl is like the
vinyl, man.
It's been in for a while.
Yeah.
The funny part, the part that protected comics was the the culture of collecting, right? There was just this massive since the 50s, really 60s, and then it really snowballed in the 70s of collecting. And so you can't collect digital; you can only collect physical. And even guys that were so they're buying their monthlies because they need them physically, because it's not, there's your consumer and there's your collector, right? A consumer is the guy that comes in, buys the book, reads it like you would a Time magazine or a Life magazine, and then throws it away or puts it in the bathroom at the cottage. But then there's the person that puts it in the box, right? And that's sequentially the next issue and the next issue. And so the collecting, the customs and traditions of collecting helped print in the comic book realm immensely, because people just couldn't drop that habit of collecting.
Yeah. And they've tried moving into digital collecting, which has yet to catch on. I mean, and during the pandemic, it was a very Vaughn, bringing up your point. During the pandemic, strange things happened. They were creating NFTs and then burning physical copies to make sure that the rarity had would keep its place. Some
a gimmick. That's a great gimmick.
It was crazy. Some rare paintings were actually destroyed in lieu of NFTs. It was such a very strange time. McFarlane's tried NFTs, like so many different companies. As a matter of fact, toys, McFarlane toys now have digital editions, and it's just the weirdest thing. I go to a comic book store. I pick up these boxes. They're like, okay, it's Robin digital edition. I'm like, what's digital about this? But apparently, it's attached to an NFT. You know what I mean? So not only they're selling toys with NFT, it's like what the whole market is confused. The whole market. It is just crazy.
Though, the thing that seems to be happening, like that might be a saving grace, because we know that comic shops have gone for collectors, and there's a reason why we all got gray hair here, because we're that set that can't spoil the runs, and we had to keep them going. The new generation seems to be more about the experience of, if there's going to be any saving of physical books or comics or anything, it's the experience of going to the store and speaking to a specialist, like somebody who knows you and knows what you might like and could lead you to something you might enjoy, right? It's that personalized experience. So in the US, Barnes and Noble, surprisingly, is having a comeback all of a sudden.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Understood that. Right? Right. They started to say, each store, you know what, you do what's good for your market. We're not going to do this one size fits all thing that you can get online now, right? We want people to know who's running this store, and we want you to know your customers, right? So you can start having a relationship with these people. So if there's any chance of physical media being the thing, that's going to be the way. It's going to be, you're not necessarily there just to pick up the thing because you get it delivered to your door. You're there to have the experience, right? To meet people, to be guided towards something you may enjoy that you wouldn't have found yourself, right? It's the curation, all of that. It's totally different way. And maybe that's something that, again, the Diamond's not gone. It's chapter 11, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
They're restructuring. Who knows? Right. Maybe they figure that out and they have a restructuring that really puts them on the right track. I don't know if they will based on history, but right, here's the opportunity for them to do it. If it was ever any time, they're starting from scratch. Maybe lean in that direction. Help the shops kind of go back to what they should be able to do, right? Like you were saying, if they're all their own individual shops, that's exactly what's needed nowadays, right? Get to know your customers, lead them to the things that they're going to enjoy. It's the experience, right? We kind of forgot about that when we instead kind of going after the collectors and saying, hey, we got the CGC books right here, right? Get everything certified and then pay top dollar. Maybe it's more about just trying to get people in the door and having a bit of a, relationship with everybody, a bit of an experience. But who knows, right? I guess we'll see how that goes.
You know what? It's interesting you should mention that because obviously I'm in the toy space, and Toys R Us all but disappeared in the United States, and now the same ripple effect because of the pandemic, as we've been mentioning. It's starting to hit us now. I think 6 Toys R Us in Ontario closed just the past holiday, and now a few more closures have been announced. And now Toys R Us is trying to think about restructuring and doing more experiential concepts, like more Lego building days and more activity days and things like that. So yeah, maybe it is a situation where you have to have sort of experiential ideas, right? There was a time where like for instance, Gotham, they'll have like their own mini Comic Cons, you know what I mean? Like bring in a whole bunch of artists, do some signings, meet the people who were actually creating the books, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, there's a lot of but not everybody has a parking lot where they can do things like, you know what I mean? There's
and you have to put in the effort, and then over time it grows into a niche for you. You look at the Big Island, right? Like I talked about my fear of ordering an indie for the shelf, right? That's because even people from Hamilton, where I'm from, they'll drive into Toronto for the Big Island because they know when they go there, there's 8,000 indie comics lying around. It's the place to go. So their radius, a local comic shop radius is 10 kilometers. If you're a good one, it might be 20, 30. But the Big Islands, their radius is 1,000 kilometers. People will go there. And just like Carlo at Gotham, right?
At Gotham.
He put in that effort. He put in those years where maybe not many people came, but now it's, hey, we're going to Gotham because they're having one of their cons again, and there's going to be all those artists and stuff. So, sticking to a good idea still takes a little bit of luck, but a lot of effort. But you're right, there is a payoff, right? And each shop would have a different specialty. So I guess we all have to find ours, right?
So a question that I have, and this concerns Diamond, is: do you think that now that the restructuring, actually having competition, do you think it would actually help them in terms of, maybe being a little bit smarter, maybe being a little bit more courteous to not only the companies, but, independents? Maybe they can find a niche that's outside of, Lunar and all those.
Yeah, for sure. I think, sorry, Walter, you want to go ahead?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say they were trying before they hit their bankruptcy, right? They were trying to reach out. But again, they didn't put that thought in to actually say, matter of fact, this is how it works. This is how we're gonna help indies. It was more, send us your stuff and we'll figure out if we want you. Maybe if they reverse that, right, and make it like, this is how we can help you, right? Maybe now, that's how they get safe, is that indies and that will help build it back up. And there's got to be more of a back and forth relationship, where before it was, you have to prove to Diamond that you're worthy. So
exactly. Like
Walter, go ahead.
I just want to really quick follow up with that. I mean, that's exactly what happened to us, right? Just like yourself, Adriano. Like, quite literally, they were like, "All right, either you can buy in, like a 10,000 buy in, or you will review your book and decide whether or not we're gonna take you guys. And if we take you guys, then there were so many restrictions. Like, it was just like a barrier to entry, and like they did not make it easy to be distributed by Diamond. It was like an exclusive, old members club. And if you're not a member, you can't get. It's like the Stonecutters, man. Like, seriously, it was if you no homers, like, quite literally, you can't have any homers. Walter.
So I don't want to be. I guess I'm going to come off as Joe Corporate here, but
go for it.
I'm Diamond, right? I got 800 guys with ideas, and I have a limited staff. I have a limited budget myself. How am I going to help you? Like, I can't spend all my resources, and I have no idea whether you're going to succeed. It's a catch-22, right? It's tough for Diamond. I'm sure they'd want all of us to succeed if we had ideas and stuff, because it's going to help them. But if they stick their neck out on the line financially, and just by attrition, just by averages, 19 out of 20 indie startups fail, like products, whatever, the math isn't good for them. Right. So I don't know. It is tough for them as well. Right. So
I'll say, so coming from the crowdfunding space of things, like the worst thing for the collective of us is when folks don't follow through on their either on their fulfillment. That's like the worst thing you could do, right? Have people back and never get anything, or if they have a series that never ends or takes 10 years to finish, it's like that hurts all of us, because that's, like you said, there's no barrier to entry. Right? There's no weeding through everything. So everybody's getting a shot, and not everybody is serious about it, right? They're not doing the business plan and seeing if they can see the whole series through. And then that just hurts everybody because they think, oh, crowdfunding. Well, I did that once and I paid and I never got anything for it, so I don't go on Kickstarter anymore, right? So Diamond doesn't want to be that, where they're putting these books out and they're all one issue, and then the second issue comes out a year later. They want you to prove that you're serious, but they also didn't make that easy.
By that definition, though, I think that competition is good, right? Because one of the main problems with Diamond was they had a monopoly. Right, they literally were in North America pretty much the only ones who could do it, unless you wanted to get into regular bookstores like you said, Barnes and Nobles, Chapters, Indigo. Right, that they were the only ones who really would accept comic books, because everybody outside of that industry looked at comic books like kids material, and they didn't realize that the audiences have grown up, and so the tastes have matured, right? And now everyone's starting to realize that because of the Marvel movies and the popular culture, and it wasn't until you actually got into anthologies that Barnes and Noble or Chapters would even look at you, right? So it's always difficult whenever you have trade paperbacks and monthly serials. It's a tough game, and I'm not putting all the blame on Diamond, but at the end of the day, I hear a lot of things that were not being taken care of. I think at the end of the day, everybody has to take care of their own house, right? Whether it's creators or distributors. I think that we all have to step up and make sure that we're all surviving. I think that really is a big part of that. And even with Kickstarter, as you said, is the real problem. The real problem is that there are people who just do not know how to run businesses. Right? They know how to be creatives are generally not good at business. I think that's really one of the biggest problems. So if you have a book and an idea, make sure you understand the idea that you need to find somebody who can help you distribute. Because if you don't know how to do that, you don't know how to fulfill, it's not helping anybody.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah, when you're pitching, one last thing.
Go ahead.
I had a whole bunch of people in Hamilton, right? They come to the shop. Hey, I have an idea, and I want to pitch it to this, and especially with the way Diamond was with their FOC, with that previews and stuff. And I go, listen, you're not trying to convince a fan. You're trying to convince that guy at night ordering. You're trying to convince 4,000 guys that are ordering for their store. That's the guy you're selling to when you're going through Diamond, because those are the guys hitting the quantities that they're going to order through Diamond, right? And so just that philosophy. So small little things like make sure your book is a standard size, because when they put stuff out, they put it into racking. Some guys, oh, look at this. This is like wider and cooler, and you're like, nobody's going to carry it because they have nowhere to put it, right? So little things like that. It's Diamond, it's who's using Diamond. It's the shopkeepers. It's the shopkeepers doing their FOCs, final order cutoffs. They're doing the ordering. As an independent creator, you're really selling to them. You're not selling to the end user as much. So
Right. Yeah, totally. Before we go on, there are a ton of comments, and I'd like to kind of acknowledge some of them that are going on as well too. Let's start with Mother Slug. Hello, all live chat. Dave's Dimension. Look at this council of toy gurus. And then we've got
I don't know anything about toys.
We got Randall going, hello, all. Mother Slug. Steve, you turned me into a comic book monster. Haha, all good. Been buying Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Absolute Comics, loving every minute of it. I thank you for giving me insight to it. For sure. Great. I totally take that. And those Absolute books are fantastic. And Mother Slug, I'm glad and ecstatic that you're enjoying what DC's putting out, because those books are really good. It'll be interesting to see which one you like the best out of the Trinity that they're doing. Dave's Dimension. New web series for Transformers. Interesting. Jay, do you want to touch on that quickly before
let's keep going through some of the comments. We're definitely going to circle back on that, Dave. But
sounds good.
Is fascinating.
And then Dave's Dimension. I'm totally with you on this one too. Smash that like button. Let's share this stream. Absolutely. Mother Slug again. Diamond, the war is upon us all. The calm before the storm is the saying. It's not just comics, as figures are dealing with the same thing.
Yep.
And then Mother Slug again. DC is killing it on sales lately on comics here in America's East Coast. Every time I go to a new shop, I ask shop owners what's their big seller. It's DC every time. I think Marvel had the Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't think the other Ultimate titles have taken off as much as that one. And so DC, in terms of that, like almost like an Elseworlds kind of concept, I think they're the big winners on any of those rebrands right now.
Yeah, 2024 was DC all the way.
Yeah,
mostly DC.
Yeah, they got a couple more coming out, so we'll see.
Yeah, Flash and
right?
that Martian Manhunter one.
It looks wild. I don't know. I like that they're taking a big swing. Like it might be a miss, but
I might need a gummy or two before reading it for me to kind of get it.
Fair, whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
They Gone, a Wednesday night show. Not too many of these. Let's see who else do we.
Quickly,
here?
Steve, before you get into more, I am going to head out of here. I got an early morning tomorrow.
All right, Vaughn.
Sounds good.
All right, Vaughn.
So thank you,
Vaughn.
Gentlemen. All the best, and have a great
pop up to the shop, Vaughn.
Oh, for sure. Soon enough.
All right, Vaughn. Take care.
All right.
Take care, Vaughn.
All right.
Days Dimension prior to that was hoping Diamond Select and Marvel Select emerges through all the same. Yeah, with Diamond, of course, they own Diamond Select and Marvel Select action figures. They also own Gentle Giant, and those are actually now up for sale. That was a shock.
So those are the spin-off assets, right?
Those are their spin-off assets.
Yeah.
They have. It's interesting. There's a Canadian connection because Diamond UK is up for sale, and they actually have a letter of intent to be purchased by Universal up here. There's also their card brand of distribution has actually been infused with a $38 million letter of intent from Universal. So Canada's actually stepping up, and that's a lot of money for Canada. That's like $48 million. It's pretty crazy how not that much. It's about $40 million, but it's pretty crazy. It's a huge chunk of cash. So it's getting kind of crazy out there.
And to your point, Mother Slug says these companies aren't going anywhere. It all comes down to the end investors that back them. And that's that's vital. It's all about cash, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Nerd with a suit. I only read digital books and audiobooks because I have had some bad memories of when I was struggling in school. Some people used some methods to try to get me to read. That really stressed me out. Yeah, whatever works. It's not like one size fits all. To be honest with you, as a former teacher, I can tell you that what works for one kid is not going to necessarily work for the next. And it all is a matter of time. And it's kind of interesting because, like, my own personal story, I am a traditionalist. I need to read the books. I got to feel it, love to smell the paper. Well, we come from an era where, like, the books had a smell, right? Especially like those old ones, man. You can't beat that, right?
Yeah.
And
you know what, guys, if I grab an old book, a guy will bring an old book from the 70s in, and it's one of those almost mint ones, and
right.
You'll take it out of the bag, and you'll open the cover, and you'll let it spring back, and that's the coolest thing in the world for me.
Yeah, totally.
That is cool. Yeah, it's got a last.
And it was Vaughn that actually got me to read digital comics, and I'm still not there yet. But when he introduced me to Why the Last Man, I was like, okay, I'm hooked on this one. And it was just impossible to get it because it was like 60 issues in at that point.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I can deal with it digitally, but there's just something, maybe the colors are too vibrant. It's not tactile enough. And they've got some new kind of stuff that go with it, with like the guided panel reading, which is kind of cool, but I still like, a physical book.
Yeah.
No, the trick is you got to have a monitor that's turned portrait. And then you get a nice 20-inch screen that's a giant comic page. That's the way to enjoy it, because that you're not getting with print unless you buy one of those like library editions or
exactly.
the really big one. So a different experience entirely. Don't get me wrong. I'm still getting my weekly pull at the shop, right? But sometimes it's, especially for indies, being Canadian, it's the shipping's always brutal for for indie stuff. So a lot of that I read digitally, and yeah, if you have the right setup, it's like, yeah, you can make it work really, really well.
But even as an indie creator, just getting your book printed is brutal. Like, it's just the print costs and the shipping costs are basically everything.
Yep.
Realistically.
Yeah.
It almost turns into a vanity bucket list project where you have no expectations of profit, right? And then you hope to snowball from there. But when you look at the figures in front of you, you go, this is impossible, right?
Yeah, the numbers don't
add up.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Unless you're doing a not safe for work kaiju woman, then
we're building up. We're building up
somehow. But you can't
sorry,
do that
Walter.
every time, I guess, right?
So where do we see Diamond in the next 3 months? They're still going to deliver all the toy lines and all the comic lines, and people still ordering. Like, we're still ordering, right? So.
Yeah. According to their press release, it's a business as usual. This is just a restructuring process. But the concern is, like, when, right? When are you going to get your books? When are you going to get your product, right? When you're going to get your toys,
right?
Your board games, everything like that, right? But according to them, they're just continuing the process. There's continue to order, pay for your accounts, everything like that. It's business as usual. The only problem is that their larger entities, their tertiary and secondary entities, they're now up for sale, and they're trying to cut the fat at this point. And unfortunately, it's profitable fat too. It's such a weird strategy at this point. But they've decided that their core business is more important than the secondary or tertiary businesses, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But where do we see them? I don't know. Like, my personal opinion is, just like anything else, 3 months down the road, we're going to see what happens. Like, if people keep getting late distribution, it's just not going to encourage them to keep buying from Diamond. It's the real problem is that the big boys have moved on to different distributors, so you have to buy from them anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So for the indies and everybody else, everyone's going to Kickstarter or GoFundMe, and they're doing it themselves, right? Yeah. So it's a long. Sorry, go ahead, Walter. Go ahead.
No, but you're right, because we're also now contacting Universal, say, hey, do you carry these things that we're normally ordering from Diamond? And if they are, but they're like 9% more expensive, we'd rather get it from them because we know they're going to come, right? So now we're afraid it's better to have a product where you're making less margin than not to have a product at all that you're making more margin, right? And so and I think everybody now is doing that. And trust me, I mean, you guys obviously know better than I do, but indies like the publishers that are still there, they're now looking for solutions too. They're probably talking to Lunar. They're probably talking to those other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Can you see? 1 second.
Go ahead.
Jay, can you see, because it's not necessarily working great for the streaming companies, but can you see something like this happening for comics down the road, where basically DC distributes their own stuff and Marvel distributes their own stuff, just like how you have, Peacock Network and Amazon Prime and Netflix, where instead of you have DC sending stuff to someone to then distribute, they just look after it themselves. I'm not sure if they can handle.
I think they did it before, though. I think they did that before.
Yeah, I think one of the companies that there's either them or Marvel that tried it.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's in this new landscape, that's a way to kind of not be beholden to someone else.
That's cost, right? So you need a whole system and a customer service system and a whole other kind of system, or you just dump the whole thing and you pay somebody to do it. So it comes down to costs, but ultimately, though, sorry, just before I lose my point, ultimately they have to be weighing. They shouldn't just be weighing that. They have to be weighing. Okay, we have a good thing here in terms of our product. We need our product out to the people that need it. Their number one decision-making tool should be, okay, what is the best way to get the product on time to the comic book shops? They should be making their decision based on that rather than anything else, really. So.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we also got to consider the fact that as Walter so eloquently put it, DC did try, right? They actually did try to create a sort of distribution center, but much like Disney and Peacock and HBO and all these other streaming services are realizing it's hell of expensive to actually try to do this yourself. I mean, like Netflix and Amazon. They're the two big giants in the industry, and the reason they're sustaining is because Netflix created the industry itself, right? The streaming industry, and Amazon facilitates everybody. Like Amazon owns the servers that Netflix is using. So basically, Amazon's not going anywhere, and they're now trying to catch up to Netflix. And they're both now just killing it in that regard, and everybody else is just deciding, okay, well, we're going to monopolize our own stuff, but it's not really working because of the high costs of maintaining those servers, right? Because if they had servers of their own, then they wouldn't really have a problem. But the real problem is, again, do you, as Walter again eloquently put it, do you have the manpower to do this? Do you have that extra, account manager who's going to take care of 416 or 905 or 612? You know what I mean? Like, how many regional managers do you need in order to cover the entire United States, the entire Canada, the entire like one or two countries, right? North America, right? Yeah. That's really what it boils down to on that level. But the question keeps coming up: when is DC or Marvel going to do their own crowdsourced project on their own platform? Everyone knows it's going to happen eventually. I mean, you just have to look to McFarlane. McFarlane made millions of dollars on what was it, Spawn 2, Spawn 3? Spawn, it was crazy. And that's not to mention his actual toy line, right? Todd is leading the industry in terms of innovation. It's ridiculous. Like I said, the digital assets he's doing is kind of weird. But at the end of the day, he's taking risks. Right, and this is crazy, right? A Canadian, once again, a freaking Canadian is actually making the big moves and the shaking of the.
Listen, Hasbro's doing that too, right? With their HasLab stuff, like we're going to do a huge ship. It's this big, but only if 100%. You guys buy into 5,000 or 8,000 of them.
It's funny that Mattel actually did that with Castle Grayskull. They were one of the first ones to do a crowdsourced project. And they pretty much dropped off the map off that one. And then Hasbro, years later, during the pandemic, actually, just a little bit prior to the pandemic and then during the pandemic, they decided, you know what? If you want your dream project, you're going to have to fund it yourself, kids. And that's exactly what happened. And now, every single time, they're going over asking. It's only been a couple of times, and you can blame Star Wars for just not having good products to sell.
We bought, I don't know why, because my guys convinced me. We bought 16 of those barges, those Jabba the Hutt barges. At the time, we went in all in, and it's like the best thing we did in terms of the 100%. Toy thing. We've been running those on auctions. They've been getting $1,700 US, for the thing.
And you know what's crazy about that, Walter? Because it was the first of its kind, right?
Yeah.
It barely made it over the finish line. You are responsible. You yourself are responsible for getting it over the finish line.
You pushed it, Walt.
You did it. Like, do not sell yourself short. You helped make that barge happen. So,
but Jay, think about this though. If Marvel and DC, because anyone who's kickstarted knows that fulfillment is a beast, right? So even if you're going and using any of the after services that help you fulfill, you're still doing distribution. So if Marvel kickstarts, guess what? That product, they're distributing it themselves.
But this is exactly what we were talking about. That's exactly what Walter said. Do they have the means to actually get this done, right? Or do you actually go to a partner distribution center, which now there are many, right? So where did all these guys come from, right? Lunar, Universal, right? What's happening over the years? And this is actually, sorry, Walter, why don't you go your point, because I got a little bit of a trail to go.
No, but real quick, not only distribution managers, not only guys, but you have now from the manufacturer just skids and skids and skids. One order of 3,000 toys going to Universal, one order of 2,000 things going to Lunar. You basically have 6 shipments and everything is out. Now you're going to have 6,000 shipments. So you need shippers, you need shipping bays, you need packing centers, you need tape, you need a trillion things, right? It's a billion little logistical pieces of the puzzle to put together if you're going to do the servicing yourself. Is you need the managers to take care of everything, but you also need those people down in the warehouse, and you need the Canpar guy and the UPS guy coming in every day with the just it's daunting.
Right? Yeah, so. Walter's absolutely correct, and alluding to that, what's happened now ever since Amazon and other fulfillment centers. Actually, it really started with when Amazon created their digital shop. Basically, if people haven't ever sold on Amazon before, you can actually open up a shop of your own on Amazon, and you have the option to actually send them all of your product, and they will actually store, ship, and pack, label everything for you, because they just have a huge distribution and logistical resources, right? So once they started doing that, other fulfillment centers started realizing, this is actually something we can do. So there are actually now fulfillment centers which will take your product, store them in house, and actually send them out for you. So, if for example, Hasbro only ever dealt with retail. They never actually fulfilled themselves. Now they are fulfilling themselves, and it's highly speculated, especially by me, that they're actually using a fulfillment center and have some contracts on that level, right? So there are avenues towards it. Will they ever actually do it? That's a different story entirely, right? But as Walter said, I mean, it all started with a sail barge, and now look at it. It's a massive piece of revenue generation for Hasbro. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We got some really myself.
We got some great comments. You know what? I'm gonna go back to, and I know. We had some great conversation, and we've also had some great conversation on the other side as well too. Lord Hoagie, welcome back to the show. I just read that one, but I actually clicked the wrong one. There was one who was talking about the fires in LA.
That was Nerd with a Suit.
Was that Nerd with a Suit?
Yeah, it was. Where was it? It was.
I think I passed it. You can anyway. I'll play some. I'll click some of these, and then you can. If you can find it. So Nerd with the Suit was mentioning at Mother Slug, a lot of my space goes to my toys and technology. I have a lot of Transformers, prehistoric models, family art, and a beast of a gaming PC. Right?
Yeah. 1028.
1028. Let me find it. There we go. Yes. A lot of art has been destroyed in the LA fires, and I can only imagine how many toys and collections. Like, obviously, the devastation it pales in comparison to what we're talking about, but we're just throwing it out there.
Right. In our context, we're discussing
context, right? Because the devastation it's beyond the pale. But I can imagine that there's probably been some pretty, famous art. I know this happened like years ago with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had a fantastic set of vinyl jazz records, like original pressings. His house burnt down, and he lost all of those. So,
Well, did you guys see on the news there was some thing about what kind of measures they were doing to protect was it the Getty Museum?
Right.
It was like, oh my God,
But it's really sad because, again, a lot of affluent homes did go up, and have been destroyed. And in those homes are works of art, full comic book collections. You know what I mean? I mean, Nicolas Cage famously has, Superman, Action Comics #1. You know what I mean? Like there's like we don't know what's in those houses, right? So there's quite literally the rarity market might have just shot up, 200%. We just don't know. We have no way of finding out yet.
And a lot of money down there, a lot of collectibles down there. So
for sure. Lord Hoagie says, although I'd love to have a comic book spinner rack for display, but man, those are pricey. Yes, they are.
If you're a collector, you don't want to spin a rack. You're gonna bend the corner.
Yeah, you end up bending it right on the spine. Nerd with the Suit. My philosophy is that I want to frame as much stuff as possible. When I do that, less damage. I couldn't believe when I found out some frames can be really costly.
Oh yeah, frames are very expensive because they're all custom. All frames are custom.
Yeah, for sure. Frankie Rivera. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Frankie.
Hey, Frank.
Howdy.
Yeah. And then myself and Comics. Hello, hello. It's evening here.
Evening over here too.
Here too.
It's late evening here.
Nerd with a Suit, a new Transformers series. Sweet. We need a Transformers renaissance. After those box office results, Transformers 1 will not go down in vain.
Well,
and the books are doing well.
As a small tease, it is Transformers 1. That the series is picking up. So we're going to get to that, but we definitely want to take a look at Adriano's books first. But let's just do a few more before we move on, Steve.
For sure. You want to do the question for the group? From Ian?
Sure. Let's do that.
Question for the group. How many Diamond Select products do you all have on pre-order?
Jeez.
That's a loaded question there.
That might be a painful question. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting a long time for their. And you know what? Because of what's been happening lately, they late last year, they announced. Sorry, late 2024. So my apologies. Late 2024, they announced the Bloodsport Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it was produced in smaller quantities, but they never actually shipped out their entire product line. So I've been waiting for that, and they had a great John Wick figure, which was slated to be released. Didn't see that. So yeah, there have been a whole bunch of different Diamond Select and Marvel Select figures, which I think they were really concentrating on Marvel for a while. They were trying to branch out, but obviously, again, we know now what's been going on. So that's what I had on wait.
Okay, here. There's another one here. You like this one? Oh wow, Adriano sounds like an astronaut.
He's got that mic.
You're out of this world, man. Adriano's out of this world. That's why. Yeah, for sure.
I'll take it as a compliment. I hope
it is a compliment. It is.
Absolutely.
It's of course a compliment.
All right.
That sound is hard to reproduce.
For sure. Lord Hokie goes, although I did just buy the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes Mini Mates box set, it's sitting in my pile of loot as we speak.
Yeah, another toy line which is owned by Diamond Select. So it's rough.
Congrats, Walter. I'm going to assume that this is on selling all of those Jabba the Hutt barges.
Yes, it is. I was following that actually for a little while.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nerd with a Suit. It's so sad about those fires. Myself and Comics said, and then it says, I feel with the news that came out today that will hopefully come to fruition by Sunday, and what I will say is in war tragedy, a lot of art is stolen, sometimes just destroyed. Yeah,
it is. It's pretty crazy.
Let me see, what else do we have here? Shao Kahn, welcome to the stream. Hello there, everyone.
Hello.
Howdy.
Dave's Dimension. This is Nerd with a Suit. A lot of lost films from the 20s were recovered thanks to being found in private film collections.
Mm-hmm.
True. Very true.
Now they're in a vault in a mountain somewhere because they do great. So those are probably fine. Now that they've been found. Yeah. It took Scorsese, I think, was the one who decided maybe we should, try to preserve this stuff, because before it was all private collections, and film is terribly flammable and would degrade very quickly over time, and so now it's
here's my question: what did they decide on to preserve first in a mountain? Was it the films or the seeds?
Yeah. I think those are two different mountains.
There's a Monte Santo.
One's in Scandinavia and one's in Finland. I guess my point was, what was more important to humanity, right? So.
Yeah, one is for the betterment of humanity. The other one's just pretty much somebody's private freaking collection.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. So Adriano, let's get your Kickstarter up so everyone can get a look at it. And then we'll, after you discuss that, we'll take a look at the new Daredevil trailer.
Sweet.
I haven't seen it. Good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, Walt. So it'll be first time for us. So, Adriano, tell us about your Not Safe for Work Kaiju Woman.
Yeah.
Naked Kaiju Woman.
Naked Kaiju Woman. Very important 3 words that sell the entire book. So this is an idea kind of geared for Kickstarter, right? Like, Not Safe for Work stuff does really well on Kickstarter. And I'd worked with this artist, Raphael Cristiani, before, and he's really good at drawing women, and really wanted to draw some kaiju. So I put those two ideas together, and here we are. And yeah, it's doing pretty darn well with 310 backers from last count was 26 countries all over the world picking this book up. And yeah, the basic idea is there's this girl named Claire, and she has the ability to grow over 50 feet tall. So what does she do? She defends the city from the kaiju that attack her city over and over. And yeah, you can see there's a clear influence with Attack of the 50-Foot Woman on the main cover. But we got covers from artists from all over. We got Deborah Lancianese from Italy. I got Mick Bayers from where is he from? Alabama? He's from the U.S. He's American. I met him in San Diego. But yeah, so we got some really cool variant covers, and then the whole back catalog. And so the best thing about this campaign has been a lot of the backers have actually not just backed this, but since they're new to everything I've done, they've gone and picked up all the back catalog as well. So it's been going pretty well. Yeah, very happy with it. If anything, yeah, it's been great to just see this get in front of a lot of people. And yeah, it's safe to show. I put the black bars, so you get a hint, but not a full taste of it unless you get the book. But but yeah, right. It did something a little goofy, a little wild. But the whole point is, it's not one of those books that's just naked ladies for the sake of it. You see a lot of that on Kickstarter where there's covers A to Z, and it's like this is the red cover and the blue cover and the whatever. Like this was meant. It's a story. It's a story that happens to have some nudity. If anything, I say it's like a European style of it where the nudity isn't the reason; it's just there, right? It's a little more mature, a little more silly, but it's still done in the way. Like if you've ever read anything I've done, it's clearly my book.
let's be honest. How the hell? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and further that. How the hell does Bruce keep his pants on? I mean, like whenever he gets to like the size he gets to, like I remember that one movie with where it was what was his name, Edward Norton, and at one point he was literally like, can we make this more stretchy? Like he literally said in the film, stretchy. I need stretchy, right? Like he was trying to figure out how to get that done, right? And then you look at She-Hulk is like, okay, this just I don't see how that works, right? It wasn't until they introduced the idea that there was a superhero designer, right, who has this super mesh, right, that actually will grow with and shrink with the. So we need to get that as early on as possible, because this is what would normally happen if you don't have anybody designing your suits, right? Like basically you would go naked. Like this is actually a real life situation. This is actually what would happen. So bravo.
I know that Peter David back in the 90s, he had introduced that Bruce went to a certain store that had, this is before spandex was huge, that basically implied that these pants only came in purple and they stretched a lot. And those are the pants that he bought all the time. I think that was kind of it was like around the Joe Fix-It era, right? And then you've got Reed Richards with the unstable molecules and stuff like that.
So yeah, but like he can keep growing as long as he needs to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We did not do that.
At least they tried to explain that discrepancy.
Yes, they tried.
Yeah, for sure.
So Adriano, give us an idea on what some of these rewards are.
Yeah, absolutely. So this month on Kickstarter, so they do every once in a while they'll do this. They call it like an open call, and there's like a theme for the month. The theme this month is Make 100. So on here, I'm only making 100 of that enamel pin in the corner that says only 100 above it. I think 3/4 of them are gone. So if you want them, do it quick. And then I send you everything from all my old books, all the stretch goals and stuff that I still have on hand. I put them in the envelope. I throw them in there to go with the pin. It's been very popular, very surprisingly. But if you still want the book, you can still get the pin as well. So I'm not restricting you from having to get the pin or the book. You could of course get both. So as Kickstarter is, as you go up the ladder, you can get more and more, right? So you get, I mentioned shipping can be, a bit of an expensive endeavor. So you have the digital copies, DRM free. So I send it to you, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Throw it on your tablet, throw it on your phone, whatever device you want to read on. Not my problem. You enjoy
Right.
it. Right? And then we go to the physical comic. So the prices here, again, not the price of Batman off the shelf. The reason being is because the price you see is the price you pay. So that includes your shipping, that includes everything, regardless of where you're ordering it from. So I mentioned 26 countries all over the world. They're all paying whatever, whatever the conversion of their country is, but they're paying what you see there, right? They're ordering from Europe, it's €15 and it's getting sent to their door, right? Same for the Americans and folks from the UK, and we got folks from Australia and Singapore and all over the place as well. But the price you see is the price you pay.
Okay,
And
so this is the price. Because at one point I was like,
right.
oh, we
So
sold
you're not gonna
22.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the surprise later. Like personally, I've backed you can see on the right hand side, I've backed a lot of projects, and it
Look at that number, ladies and gentlemen. 956.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
I'm a super backer. But yeah, so you could notice that you order something, and then a lot of times with Kickstarter, you don't get that survey, let's say, right away, and then a few months later, you get the bill, right, saying, oh, by the way, that $10 book you ordered, it's $20 to ship it to your house. That I hate that feeling. So I don't want to give anybody that feeling. I want them to know right up front exactly what they're going to pay. So it's all baked in, right? Sometimes that risk to me, like shipping to Singapore isn't cheap, but I'll take that risk to make the 99% of folks happy, right? So what you see is what you pay. Yeah, and then variant covers, but if you like more than one, we of course have bundles, and then that gets, as you go up the ladder and you start seeing more and more awards, you'll see that the deals get better and better, right? So you can get one of the variant covers, or you can get all of them, and it costs the price of two. You're basically paying, 2 for 3, or was what you're getting in the deal here, and that continues to go on. So if you want to see everything I've worked on, I have what I call the starter pack, right? And you can get all of the comics I've put together, and not just physical comics, but digital comics as well, right? So you're always getting a digital. If you're getting a physical copy, you're getting the digital one. So if you're a pure collector and don't want to open the bag and board it comes in, do that and read the digital one, or you can open it and read it, whatever you want. It's your comic, right? So last month we also had an anthology of short stories put together, so that you can get as well if you want to catch up. So you're going to get a 500-page what do we call them? Pocketbook paperback, right? It's like old pulp style book, but it's 500 pages thick of stories from 40 different authors, more than 40 stories, because a few of them have doubled up on there. And yeah, just all the kind of pulpiest things you could think. So sci-fi, noir, horror, it's all in there. Fantasy, it's a lot of fun. So you're getting that plus, the first issue of everything we've put together. But if you want everything, you want all the covers, all of it, that's available too. So I'll send you literally everything that I still have in print. It goes in a nice box and it gets sent to you, except the book in this case. So I'm sending you all of the comics in one package. If you want everything, including the book, that is the final tier. And you'll see absolutely everything we have. I send you a nice, heavy box. Again, the price you see is the price you pay. So don't worry about the shipping. That's it. But you're getting a nice, hefty box with every version of everything I still have. So there's one cover that's out of print for Stay Cool, but otherwise, everything else is coming to your door. So we've had actually quite a shocking amount of backers who've gone for this one, again, because they're getting caught up. So very happy with that folks are really into the, seeing everything that we've been doing together. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the campaign. Like I said, it's been going very, very well. Very happy. 310 backers, 26 countries. Very, very happy. Yes, the artwork is amazing. Yeah, this is Raphael Cristiani. So I worked with him on Stay Cool. He did a cover for a limited Udo. So I usually, I build a good relationship with these artists, and I work with them again and again because, it seems to be a really good relationship. So I was really fortunate to work with Raphael, and this is the first of a series of 5 books. So Raphael's waiting for me to send him I have the second issue done and ready. He's waiting for me to put my finishing touches on there before I send it to him. We're getting started on that, and issue 3 will be in his inbox shortly after that. So because this is done so well, we're fast tracking, getting it all out there. So yeah, more to come. It'll be a lot of fun. We got a really cool genre hopping series coming for you guys. So yeah, very, very, very happy with how it's all gone, for sure.
Sounds great. The book looked great. The campaign obviously is doing really, really well. I'm just going to scroll quickly up. How many more days do you have left? What's your end
15,
date on it?
15 or 16. Depends. They do it based on the time you launched. So
Right.
yeah, 15.
Yeah, so you have 15. You have 15 days to go. 310 backers. That's an amazing number. You are in the Project We Love category, so that's fantastic.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. You're
you.
doing the Make 100. You're absolutely knocking this out of the park. The art looks great. The story's, pretty hilarious and on point. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like, you got kaijus. You've got a Naked Kaiju Woman. It's not safe for work. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I hope people like it. It's just, it's some silly fun. It's what comics should be, right? It's just an enjoyable, tight story that, and it's a beginning, middle, and end. Like you're getting, although it's a series, like you're getting a full story with this one issue. So, you don't have to trade weight this one. Like it's, you'll have fun with the book that's coming to your door.
Perfect. And anyone out there who is watching this either live or on a replay, please support this. They've already made their goal, so you're gonna get your product. But especially with all the Diamond news, anytime you can support an indie creator, and Adriano does really good work. I've been with him out on the convention circuit, and it's a lot of fun. He's got a great product. So if we can get a couple more backers, that'd be great. Let's see if we can get from 310 a little bit higher before our stream's over. That'd be fantastic.
For sure. Yeah, and I just want to add one point. So again, Kickstarter, we're always talking about how things don't get fulfilled, things aren't completed on time. This book is done. It's ready to be printed. So there's no waiting or concern about like, oh, will the artist drop out? Like it is ready to go. We're just waiting for the fulfillment to come in so we can send it to the printer, right? So the book is completed. It's pending printing. I just need to know how many to print. Right now, last check was over 650 issues of between all the comics we're sending out. So
you're gonna enjoy that fulfillment.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a long march by the time the books arrive. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Perfect. And let's skip to Daredevil, and then we're gonna come back to Walt, because I want Walt to tell us about what he's doing in the space, also on YouTube as well as online. Because while we were talking about Diamond and looking at modern books, Walt is, how should I say, he's like an expert when it comes to the vintage books. If you're into collectibles and books that have high value, great grades, Walt is the person to ask for. He knows everything and has his finger on the pulse for sure.
Let's see this Daredevil. Let's go.
So now for some Daredevil.
Let's go.
All right, how does it look here? All right.
Don't forget the sound.
No, can't forget that.
Thank you for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature. Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. And chaos must reign.
Am I putting the hatchet down? I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised to believe in retribution. retribution.
Looking good.
Looking good.
Is that on Disney?
Yep.
Yeah, it will be.
I gotta get Disney.
You need a friend who can give you.
I'm gonna borrow one of your passwords.
I know, right?
I didn't say that. Yeah.
I like to reveal
Yeah,
I like to reveal the masks. That was a neat reveal.
You know what I thought?
Yeah.
Those are all toys. That's like
Exactly.
you know, every single suit.
Exactly.
What?
Welcome to Disney, right?
That's how it works. I mean, like that's exactly what it is. Like that's there's no denying. All those are going to be toys. It's exactly with Skeleton Crew. Every single one of those things are toys. That's just
Yeah.
As soon as
Hey, it's all toys. Always toys. Steve, I'm sure took the kids years and years ago. Disneyland, first time ever there. They're 8, 9. We go on some dumb ride, some Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever it was, ride. We go out. We're going out the door. You don't go out the door. You go out through the gift shop.
Yes.
The exit is through the toy shop. And so your kids are going, oh, I want this, I want that. So yeah, it's toys.
Yeah. Last time I was there, you exited out of some Star Wars store, and you can make obviously there's a ton of Lego, but then you can make your own lightsaber and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's all about the merch. It's all about the merch.
It is. It's the merch.
Yeah.
That looked good though. That was my favorite.
It
That was my favorite superhero graphic novel ever for me reading as way back.
Right.
That was my favorite. So.
Well, without Daredevil, there would be no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
there you go. Say that again.
Or Batman Year One.
Yes. Yeah. When you think about it, Lord Hoagie, I wish we had gotten a Power Man and Iron Fist show. It would have been great. I know that there was a lot of how do I put it? Consternation around the Iron Fist casting. I don't think a lot of people were happy with that Iron Fist. The way that he was represented, but yeah, that would have been a great show. But maybe there's time to reboot those characters in this Daredevil series. Who knows?
I will say it's good they maintain the tone, because I know they kind of proved it with Deadpool that they're willing to go kind of to what they expect, but still, it's especially with Penguin just having come out, and you really see this is what a hard R comic book show should be like. Right, you worry that Daredevil would scale back, and they really make the point at the end of that trailer, no, this is going to be a hard R, right?
Right. So speaking of what's coming out, because Nerd with a Suit has a great one. He goes, I just want a good Fantastic Four movie. That's one of the ones, along with Daredevil, for 2025 that I'm looking forward to. So I'm looking for I'm the same with Nerd with a Suit. I want a good FF movie, just please. The only thing that has me kind of is the Robert Downey Jr. stuff, because I want Von Doom and Reed to have their kind of origins tied, right? They're kind of what makes that story work. So we'll see what happens. But in terms of 2025, for me, Daredevil and FF. Is there anything else that will go around the horn that anyone is looking out for? And it could be toys. I was just going TV and movies, but is there a toy or a game that anyone's looking forward to? So let's go to the corner. We'll start with Walt. What is it for you that you're looking forward to 2025?
Yeah, I think the FF is I didn't. Don't yell at me, but I didn't even know the Daredevil was coming out until today. I just on this podcast. So
it's all good.
On this stream. I didn't know, but it's all about the FF for me, because it's just doing it right, righting the wrongs of past FFs. Right. I mean, you got to remember
that Corman movie.
I mean, FF was, when Marvel started, it was FF. It wasn't Spidey, right? When Marvel started, FF carried the day until Spidey took over, right? FF launched that revolution in the early 60s. It was Kirby and Lee and in the Fantastic Four that were doing the groundbreaking stories, the groundbreaking art, shattering all expectations of what comic books could be. And it's the FF. And then they gave him that, mantle of the world's greatest comic magazine, well past deserving it. It's like the Rolling Stones, being the world's greatest rock and roll band for a 2-year window, but maybe not anymore, that type of thing. Right. So, but the FF, I'm really excited that they're going to do it right. And I'm one, I don't know if you guys will back me on this. I know why they do it. I know why they do Downey Jr. I know why they do it, but I want the character to be strong. I don't want the character to be beholden to an actor for popularity. I want them, like the luxury of a Batman as a character in movies, and the luxury of, even a Spider-Man now, thankfully, is that people are going to go see that character. And, when they announce the new actor, nobody gets mad. It's like, because, okay, this is his kick at the can at this character that we all love. Whereas now I'm worried that Doom will be overshadowed by Robert Downey Jr. Right. So,
especially a wisecracking Doom for me, that's not I don't need to see that. Adriano, before we get to you, let's go with Nerd with the Suit, Superman and Wicked Part 2. Those are two pretty good ones. Pardon?
Very different choices there.
Yes. Yeah. So what about you for 2025? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, Superman's the big one. That one's like, I was stung. So I was in film school when Superman Returns came out, right? And that was supposed to be the the return of Superman, like for real, like pardon the pun, but like for real, like this is gonna put him back at the forefront. Like Superman's gonna be the hero for everyone. And then that movie was weird and right, just did not deliver. Like, sure, he looked like Christopher Reeves, kind of, right? Like if you squinted a bit.
Ralph was great. Script was terrible.
Like, he was great. He redeemed it. Like he was redeemed in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah, where he got to play the the
Kingdom Come version, I guess.
Yeah, it was so good. So at least he got that. Well, I see if Henry Cavill ever gets an opportunity to kind of redeem himself too. But but I like that they're going all in with this Superman. Like they are another pun there by accident. But they're really like just doing a Superman movie, right? Like Metamorpho's in there, and you got like Guy Gardner with the silly bowl cut, and they're just fully like, you know what? Comics are silly. Let's do it. Let's just do the silly thing, and like we don't have to ground it or explain it. Like Superman's a dude from another planet. He punches things real hard. Like just accept it, right? So I'm really hoping we go there. Because it's overdue, man. Like Superman's the man. How has there not been a proper take since the 70s? And even then, the Christopher Reeves take was a Silver Age take, so it was super goofy and super like he's throwing the S in the Superman 2 to like capture them.
I don't know what happened there.
Right? That's
I love that movie. But,
right? You just pull stuff out of the hat to like get them out of situation. Where now it's like, okay, like let's at least follow our own logic. But we're still going silly. We're going like, comic books are weird and cool. Let's do that. We're not going to apologize for it. We're just going to do it. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, let's just do the kaiju battle.
For sure.
I love it. So thanks very much. That's one on my radar. I'm worried I'm going to be terribly disappointed because I have like all my hope in that one. I'll be there like day one on the preview night. And if it doesn't deliver, I'm going to be heartbroken. But that's like number one on the list for me. Yeah, and then the absolute stuff from DC as well. More of that. Like I've really been enjoying all that stuff. So give me more. I'm all for it.
Sounds good. And Jay, what do you got? What's on tap for you?
I don't know if I'm actually looking forward. Well, that's not true. I'm looking forward to a whole bunch of things, but cinematic wise, I'm just I don't know if it's looking forward to it. I'm always taking my expectations back as far back as I can, because if it surprises me and I really enjoy it. That's because like Transformers 1. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, because if you haven't, you should. You should.
Yeah,
you should. The failing of Transformers 1 is the marketing. They marketed it as if it was a kids movie. It's not a kids movie. It is a family movie, and by the end it gets so dark. You're like, geez, Louise, Megatron's out. Like what? Like seriously, your mind is blown by the end of the film. And I went in there with no expectations. I was like, all right, whatever, man. Let's just go. Let's get this over with. By the end of it, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Okay, so I've learned, or at least I've tried. I mean, it's hard not to get enthusiastic about the things you love, right? So, my biggest problem right now is Master Universe. I'm just hoping they don't f it up. Like seriously, I'm just at that point now where I've been promised a Master Universe movie for decades, and it's never actually happened. And I love. People think I'm joking about this. I love the 87 movie. I am a huge fan of the 87 movie.
Right.
Dolph Lundgren, man, like he was still the weakest part of that film, but it didn't matter when he raised up that sword and said I had the power. I was all over it, man. Skeletor was the best thing about that movie. Frank Langella's performance.
I was just going to ask if that was Frank Langella. Yeah,
it was Frank Langella, man, and it was legendary. He was amazing as Skeletor. And Jared Leto has a big, huge freaking shoes to fill if he's going to try and live up to Frank Langella.
You better call Chris Hemsworth.
Well, there's the thing. So Nicholas Gazeltine, I think I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but somebody tried to correct me the other day. I just can't get it right. He's getting yoked, man. He's getting big. Like the last photo of him, he's actually put on a ton of weight. Like it's crazy. So he's at least putting in the effort. Tila's looking pretty snazzy. And I am looking forward to Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. I'm having a hard time seeing it. I've said that multiple times, and people have taken that. People have taken that comment the completely wrong way. I said I'm having a hard time seeing it because every time I see Idris Elba, I see freaking dude freaking telling his adopted Japanese daughter that she's not ready. You know what I mean? Like stay behind, don't move. Like Pacific Rim, right? And the other thing
I want him to pull out a wire line. Tell him we're back up in business.
Okay.
I want him to drop some lines like that.
I would totally love to see. Look, I'm saying this. I've said it multiple times. He's gonna slay the role. He's gonna slay the role. But the thing is, in my head, I've always got this image of Duncan, which is basically Alan Oppenheimer. And he's like, he's just past the hill. He's a Man-at-Arms, but he's just past the hill. So he's and then there's another version of Duncan, which is old crotchety freaking again the 87 movie version, right? Where he's old crotchety, but he's still got his tricks, right? But Idris Elba is this freaking he's a giant among men. You know what I mean? He's freaking Hemdall, right? So it's hard for me to see Hemdall playing Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms is basically almost over, just past his prime, but just getting over the hill and still making it, right?
Maybe he'll do some method and you'll get some deep acting.
But this is what I'm trying to. So I'm telling you, he's gonna slay the role. But I'm eager to see how he's gonna do it. You see what I'm trying to say? But the problem is that this movie alone is already rubbing me the wrong way because where does it start? It starts on Earth. So for me, I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Again, you're screwing it up, and I'm very apprehensive as to what's actually going to happen with this film. So I'm keeping a healthy probably an unhealthy skepticism on this because I'm actually on the point of saying this is never going to happen. I keep saying it. I'll believe it when I see it. So there's that, and then what I'm looking forward to this year. Apparently, they're going to announce the next. What was it called? Either. The next HasLab, like Walter's talking about it. I believe it's the next either Star Wars or Transformers HasLab is it's either Star Wars or Transformers HasLab is going to be announced. It's the next Transformers. The next Transformers HasLab is going to be announced at MegaCon in Orlando. So looking forward to seeing what they have up their sleeves because the Rattler was an incredible Kickstarter, and the same thing with what was the last one they did? Whatever it was. It's like they're all really, really good, except for the Star Wars one. The Star Wars ones suck. The Ghost has been the best thing so far out of all the Kickstarters. It's been crazy.
Sounds good. I'm going to go back to the comments for a quick little bit. So we've got Nerd with the Suit. Megatron ripped that MF in half. I'm assuming that's a spoiler, but that's all good. I'm just going to sit and wait for it.
He's I believe he's talking. I believe he's talking about because Megatron didn't cut anybody in half in one. I believe he's talking about the first Transformers film.
That's right. That's right. I think you're right.
He ripped Jazz in half. That was...
So, Mother Slug, curious, Steve, are you a big Superman fan? I would say he is my favorite DC. I have not read a lot of the comics, although I've bought Clayton Henry's recent run, which I really enjoy. And he says, and if so, do you think the writers made the Crystal of Knowledge green like Kryptonite when it could? Why? You know what? That's a good question. I have no idea.
That's a deep cut there, man.
That's a deep cut.
He was out of ink. He was out of red ink. So
yeah, right. It's usually something like that. It's usually something silly that you think there's a lot of meaning in it, and it just turns out that you forgot, or there's a misprint, or there's miscommunication.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I am going to correct myself. Nerd with Suit is right. That actually something happens in Transformers 1, and I can't believe I totally forgot it. But I should take that back. So,
Nerd with the Suit. I'm looking forward to that. All right. It's always nice to see some Transformers hulking out a little bit. So Frankie Boy, peeps, Frankie Boy is in the house. How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, sorry. Say that again.
I was just saying kids movie. That's why it was again. It got dark. It got really dark.
yeah, for sure. Frankie Boy, since he's just showing up, he says that Diamond has been a jerk for a long time. Will probably have little or no consequences. There are several distributors operating in the U.S. and some are taking over what it's worth taking over. So we'll see how that goes. Mother Slug says, I have to bring up Hatter and his holy Thundercats castle. I felt so bad when he filmed his so-called unboxing. It's horrible shipping experience. Jay, you'll have to give us some insight on that if you can.
So the Cat's Lair $600 play set, $800 in Canada. It arrived at Mad Hatter's door with a hole in it. It's not supposed to have a window. It's not supposed to have a window.
Whoa!
It looked like somebody took it looks like somebody took a forklift to it. It was So it was terrible.
And not insured or anything, I guess. Or...
Well, here, let me. You know what? Really quick, just because we're on it, right? Just really quickly. Let me just. Hold on. I just happen to have it handy. Surprising. Let me just show you the horrors that exist in the toy world. All right, so check this out, gentlemen. Anyone with weak constitution, please turn away. That was a joke.
Should I drum roll this?
You don't need to drum roll it, but again, set your eyes to stun, as they say in the toy world.
Oh,
that's not supposed to happen, guys. And
I threw it too.
But it gets worse. It gets worse. Check this out. So that's the shipping box, right? But if you look carefully, that's the toy right there. You can actually see it.
I see it. Yeah,
destroyed.
Yeah, that is the toy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So yeah,
that's terrible.
What's really terrible about this is that Super 7 prior to this has actually been known for protecting collectors' items for such a long time. My Snake Mountain, this beast over here, right? This masterpiece, this classic Snake Mountain, it came in 2 shipper boxes and then the artwork box, and it was a tank. It arrived in absolute mint condition, and now to come from that to seeing this, it's an absolute fall from grace for Super 7 shipping. Just absolutely deplorable.
Ouch. Ian 2800 has an interesting question. I wonder if the chaos in the LA area had anything to do with the distress it experienced during shipping. I don't know.
I'm confused by that comment, Ian. It's probably flying over my head for some reason, but if you could elaborate, because that would
be great, because I'm not quite sure what that means either. Mother Slug, bad day, FedEx worker feeling that kicking action on that box.
It looked like a forklift, though. I think
that was
right. somebody made a mistake and they just moved on as though nothing happened.
Yeah,
Right?
Adriano's right. That is some mechanical error right there. That's something happened there. That's not a kick.
Yeah, and the sad SpongeBob harmonica music plays. Yeah, for sure. Patrick. Yeah, for sure. So, Walt, we're going to you got to tell us about ICE and your new YouTube channel. But before we end, because we got about 20 minutes left, I want to end after we come back from looking at Walt stuff. I want you to think of iconic roles and an actor who has played 2 of them. Right? There's many of them. I've got a list. And so I'll bring them up. And if there's any in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. And I want you to tell me, so we have some time to think about while we're looking at Walt's, which one is the most iconic out of their roles. So there are a few actors who have done dual roles and have been in like 2 franchises that have
you have the
multiple
list,
movies.
Though, right? You have the list.
I have some that I will bring up. Yeah, I'll bring them up. Yeah. So it's not where like on the spot you got to think about it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, you know what I'll do? I'll put one out there, and then we'll go to Walt, and then when we come back, we'll debate it.
All right.
Okay. So, and this one. Okay. Here's one, and we'll take this one first.
Oh yeah.
Josh Brolin, Thanos or Cable.
Okay.
What's he known for? But we're not going to answer that one. We're not going to answer it just yet. We're going to take a look at Walt stuff.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to leave that one up. So, Walt, tell us about ICE.
Well, this is something I started. It's a consignment site I started about 8 years ago, but it really has morphed, Steve. It's morphed into ICE's weekly eBay auction, right? So this is a buy it now site, and we do sell off of there. We do well, but it's about 10% of our sales annually. 90% is through the ICE eBay auction portal. And if you go up to the top of this page, you'll see ICE on live auctions there at the top, right under ICE collectibles. So if you click that, that's our weekly. So we throw up about 150 to 200 auction items up every week, and it's incredible. We can do 20 grand US, 30 grand US a week, every week, all year. And it's people great. What it is, it's a solution now for people selling their collections. Nobody's buying. Right. Buy it now sites have a nickname now. They're called parking lots, right? If you go to eBay, people are posting buy it now prices, and they're just sitting there for years and years, and it's not good for cash flow. So we offered ourselves as a solution. Hey, you need your items moved. We have this weekly auction, and the trick to this, Steve, was a guy named Jay, who I'm sure you've met, and myself. We're old school guys, so we grade, right? And we know how to grade. We know how to check for completeness. We know how to check for restoration. We're also old curmudgeons that are really tough on the books in terms of grading. So I tell Jay, hey, listen, whatever we grade, let's grade it half a point below. And what's happened is over the years, buyers start to trust your grading, because it's impossible to sell raw items on eBay without worrying about returns. So the solution to that is to grade them very, very, very fairly and to have a great return policy. But then over the years, it takes years, is to develop this clientele that trusts your grading and trusts, if they're not happy with it, if you miss something, that they can send it back. So we're very, very happy with that. And it's a beast now. We're getting more people just bringing their stuff to us. It's now becoming, we need to hire more type thing. So it's, nice. But it's funny how that business morphed. We still have ICE. This is ICE. This is just the ICE weekly eBay auction. But we also have the ICE Buy It Now site with and what we often find is a person will put something on ICE Buy It Now for $1,000, and they'll be up for 3 months. They'll get impatient. Hey, well, pull it off, throw it up on the auction, right? And the problem is sometimes, because the nature of the auction is sometimes it actually goes for higher than we had it at the Buy It Now price. more often than not, it goes for a bit lower. But when you get two guys really want something, you get that auction effect sometimes. So, but it's a lot of work. It's a weekly procedure that we do every week, and it's there's about 5 people involved, and keeps us busy. And always new people bringing in stuff, shipments coming in from all over the country. There's not one American yet that shipped us stuff. It's all Canadians, right?
Wow.
So, and and the reason is we're Canadian, and I've been in the business so long that I know a lot of people, so I get referrals. And but if we were in Buffalo, New York, and we started up a little auction house, you can't compete with Heritage and people like that. But the fact that you're in Canada, you have this small sliver of a chance because you're a Canadian. People don't have to ship their items across the border. We live in, probably an hour and a half driving radius of half the country's collectibles when you think about it. When you think about Oshawa to Barrie to London, Ontario to Niagara Falls, that whole thing encompasses the greater Toronto, Hamilton, London, Guelph, Kitchener area. That's where everything is. And so it's funny how the business morphed into that, but that's where we are now. And it's just growing like crazy. It's like really, really awesome. Doing well. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is this what took over the basement of Big B Comics, or is that a whole different operation?
We have a warehouse now. We have a warehouse. We used to have we used to have in the basement of Big B. We used to have a $1.99 room.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a huge room. We closed that down, and that's kind of the shipping and fulfillment room right now. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, because I went there recently. I'm like, what happened to my dollar bins? And I was told that you're doing that. Yeah.
Blame ice. Blame ice.
Great. And I'd like to, before we go into the last segment, tell us about your covers.
All right. Yeah. So we and again, we designed this as a marketing thing. So Chris and we do a top 10 countdown. It's kind of like almost reaction, where if he picks a topic, he won't tell me. And if I pick a topic, I won't tell him. So, and it's like our initial reaction to the cover type of thing. And we're doing some weird things like the top 10 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle knockoffs. But then we're doing some normal things like top 10 Silver Age Marvel covers and stuff like that. And we're 2 weeks old. We launched on January 1st. And, we're YouTubers now, so we're always concerned about algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And it's a fun project. But I mean, I've looked at the space, Steve, and I've looked at there's no on things like this, there's no projection of monetizing views, right? This is trying to create a community. During these things, because I'm like an old guru of values, right? During these things, I will talk about, if I hit a cover, I'll talk about, hey, this cover is valuable and this is why it's valuable, right? This cover is a battle cover. This cover is a first appearance of a villain cover, or this cover is drawn by this artist type of cover. This cover has sexual innuendo cover. So I'll dwell on all those things and why there's value in these covers. And so the goal is, at the end of it all, like if a person watches all the videos, they won't even know it, but they'll have a sense of what drives value in comic books in terms of, at least from the cover perspective, right? Because right now in the marketplace, the cover is the second biggest driver of comic book value, right? The biggest driver of comic book value is character introduction. Right. So, obviously the big heroes, but also the villains. Right. So, whatever, Spidey 238 is the Hobgoblin, and that's why that one's worth money, that kind of thing. Right. So we're trying to foster and create this community around the company where we're entertaining and informing and engaging, and hopefully we're getting some feedback back, and with the ultimate goal of, hey, if they need help with their collectibles, we're a place that they could reach out for selling their stuff through our auctions and stuff like that. So that was kind of the goal, right? Yeah.
Excellent.
No, it's tough though. YouTubing is tough. I'm telling you this.
It ain't easy. It's no joke. It is hard. Mega J is probably the granddaddy out of all of us, and the guru, and how to do the well. You got the beard to show it. But he's the one who's been kind of like pounding.
He's 29 years old, but it's YouTube has made it great, right?
It's aged me beyond my years. You have no idea.
But it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of commitment. But
I'm
Walt's
18.
putting up good stuff. And so if you can drop a subscribe and a like on all their videos, that'd be great. The Batman video is great, and I had no idea about the Mutant Ninja Turtle knockoff covers. That was like comic book like university for me. I had no idea that those things were even they even existed.
Yeah, neither did I. That was Chris. I remembered the radioactive black belt hamsters. That was the only one I don't remember that at all. Oh, okay. So
Mother Slugs got Jay laughing. Father Jay like Father Time. All right. So going back to that, because we're winding down. Let's go back to Ian 2800. He said Josh Brolin, Thanos, and Cable. So which one is more iconic? Is it Thanos or Cable?
Well,
we'll go around the horn. Jay?
Come on, it's got to be Thanos. I mean, like, you have to head to Weta Digital. You know what I mean? What they're able to do with digital characters is just, ever since Gollum, the Na'vi, right, and just any character they put some sort of digital face on, they've been able to actually create an actual performance. And but it all stems from the facial capture of Josh Brolin. Right. He truly brought a gravitas to Thanos, but also strangely enough, a humanity to Thanos, because he wasn't this one-dimensional character. He actually was this person who truly believed he was doing the right thing for the universe, right, for the galaxy. But deranged for sure. But if it's a terrible thing. What his logic is ridiculous, absolutely horrendous, absolutely horrifying. But if you were to just use pure academics to justify his means, I mean, the numbers. It's about numbers, right, for him, right? But again, it's not about numbers for people, right? But an amazing character. I really liked Cable, but he was pretty one-dimensional. I mean, like, he had this one focus. It's like, I'm here to kill this little kid. Like, this is he murdered my daughter. Like, gotta kill this guy, right? So, yeah, you kind of like. There's not much to attach there. You can't really relate to a guy like that. So, unfortunately,
you and Mother Slug are gonna have some words later. I can see this.
Of course we are.
He says Cable. He says Cable. Actual screen time.
No, actual screen time. That's fine, but that doesn't mean he was.
What about you?
That doesn't mean he was a good character.
What about Adriano? Is it between Cable and Thanos?
Yeah, it's Thanos, man. Like, he's permeated beyond the MCU. Like, I was just watching Squid Game, like, the second season.
Right.
There's a character named Thanos in there. As the
and he has purple hair too, right, or something like that.
Purple hair, right? Yeah. And like the fact that you're expected to understand that reference outside of like being a bunch of comic nerds talking on a podcast, like my wife gets that reference. Right. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know what Cable is. So it's just, it's him. Like,
if you live in Canada, Cable is Rogers.
That's right. It's a whole different villain. Yeah.
Yeah. And Walt, for you?
Yeah, Thanos all the way. Thanos all the way.
I'm a Thanos.
That first one. I know what you did with the first one. You made it obvious, so you made the choice for us easier. But the second one,
this next one, I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then I'm gonna show it.
Oh,
Han Solo.
That is tough. That is tough.
That's a good one.
That is
for Harrison Ford.
My God,
I have a side for that one.
All right, Adriano, let's go.
You start.
Is it Han Solo or is it Indy?
It's Indy, right? Like, it has to be Indy, because like Han Solo is a part of a universe. He's a great character and all that, but Star Wars goes on without him. Where Indy's Indy. Like, they've tried with Shia LaBeouf and all that to carry this lineage on, and it's not gonna happen. They did it with like Young Indy, all that stuff, but like Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones is like untouchable in that sense, right? Where Han Solo, I mean, yeah, like it's he's one of many iconic characters there, so yeah, I'd have to lean Indy for that.
Oh, this is great. I'm gonna hop in with Mother Slug, Han Solo, and Ian 2800 Indy, Anna all day. So already we've got that split. Walt, what do you think?
Thank God that Adriano answered first, because I was afraid. So, but he's right. He's right. Indy is Indy. It's solo. He's by himself. He created that character. Now I have a question for you. So it's Indiana Jones for me. I have a question for you on that note. You know how you guys are talking about Shia LaBeouf and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Have we gotten to the point where the actors and the studios can come to Harrison Ford and say, or us as a viewing public, and say, hey, we're going to render you as a 37-year-old through AI, and we're going to make another Indiana Jones movie, right? With your blessing and your participation, right? So
I think the first half hour of the last one kind of.
I know they dabble in it, yes, but can they do a full movie?
Can they just like keep going and say like we're doing these movies for the next 30 years?
I think we're 30. I think we're 15 to 20 years away.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're 3 or 4. I honestly do, because I think
there's
movies are.
It still looks kind of weird.
So if you watched so the scene where what was it called in Civil War, when Robert Downey Jr. Was saying goodbye to his mom and his dad, that was a completely different actor. The performance wasn't there. I mean he tried to embody as best as he could Robert Downey Jr., but it just wasn't Robert Downey Jr. The real problem is that no matter somebody trying to copy Harrison Ford is not Harrison Ford. Even an AI is never does it exactly right? Which is why I said what's it called? Which is why I talked about Weta Digital. AI is not going to be able to do it. I argue that what I would agree to a certain degree is the right number of artists working on the right number of projects can make something as beautiful as the Na'vi, can make something as beautiful as Gollum, can make something as beautiful as Thanos. AI by itself, there's no freaking way. It's so unpredictable. You cannot control it. AI isn't even real intelligence. It's just a bunch of algorithms, which is just putting things together and slapping it.
Okay, but they have that ability. Like, I, for one, just would love to try. Maybe. How many of us love noir? How many of us? I'll sit through an hour and 15 minutes of some Bogart noir directed by Nolan or something like that. Like, I'd like to try it. I'd like to see it. Right. So,
or a 60s era Sean Connery James Bond movie again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think they're capable of it now, but the whole thing about movies is suspending your sense of belief, which was always about plot lines before, but now it's also we can extend that to actual humanity. But you know what? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish first, Walter.
No, I'm saying as the technology gets a little bit better, where you can notice a difference, but you can forgive it. I don't know if that'll be a consumption thing where, like fan fiction, right? You know what I mean? In a way that's going down that line, right? So
okay, so here's actually, Adriano, did you want to talk a little bit about that first? Because I'm opinionated about this to a certain degree. So
yeah, I'll just mention the Flash tried it and it was awful.
that Nicolas Cage stuff. That Nicolas Cage Superman.
You know what though? I do blame just low budget on that. Like they could have done a way better job.
Lack of right. They just whip this together quick.
It's true. It is true. But
so Jay, let me hear. Let's hear a rant.
Okay, so here's what I'm trying to say.
Oh wait, Jay. First, before you go,
sure.
Solo or Indy?
it's Thunderbolt Ross. We all know it, right? Like seriously, that is the greatest character he's ever played.
What is the
Like,
theory?
like 100%. That's my way of saying I choose not to answer that question.
Yeah, that's you're a politician on this one.
Yeah.
Are you raising taxes?
We're going red. We're going red with this one, Steve. We're going all red on this one.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know. But here's the thing. Okay. So what I choose, let's put it this way. Would I choose the Thing from 1970? Well, no, 19. What was it? 19.
The original one.
1963.
Yeah, it was like
the Thing from Outer Space. Would I choose the Thing from Outer Space from 1963 or the Thing from 1984? You know what I mean? Like John Carpenter's The Thing, right? What I'm trying to say there, what I mean by that is, I think that there is a beauty and just a simplicity about remaking a film and making it better, right? Now, on that same breath, I will say that I don't want to see The Princess Bride remade. I don't want to see, there's certain things which
Classic.
I think
Can't touch it.
should never be touched, right? They're like Gone with the Wind and what's it called, the Rosebud. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things which are timeless. You know what I mean? And should not be subjected to another pass, right? There are things which, like the Mona Lisa. Should you be able to recreate the Mona Lisa in AI technology? And we've actually seen it. We've actually seen people make the Mona Lisa dance and stuff like that. I think that's a tragedy. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's sacrilege. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's terrible, right? Am I gonna say that every remake is a home run? No, Gem and the Holograms is absolutely freaking terrible, right? But I'm giving. So here's a great example. I'm not looking forward to Master Universe. Sorry, that's not true. I am very, very much not excited about where they're heading with Master Universe, the movie, but I want to see it because I want a good Master Universe to come out again. But do I want Dolph Lundgren to do I want to make a CG version of Dolph Lundgren so that I can relive that part of it? Not really. I've always said that I think Schwarzenegger should have been He-Man, right? I think that other people should try doing it themselves. You know what I mean? I want to see real people on the screen. I don't want to see a facsimile or a reasonable idea. If I want to watch a 3D animated movie, I'll watch a 3D animated movie. I'm not interested in watching a silicon edition of someone recreating a performance from 40 years ago. To me, there's something is lost. There's no in a lot of ways. There's no soul in it. I think, and then there's always going to be the polarizing debate that these are taking away jobs from actual actors. You know what I'm trying to say? Like another actor should have been able to portray that role. That's another ball of wax entirely. But
now you guys would know real quickly how is that Vegas show where they're hologramming Elvis or whoever it is? Is that a success? There's a show in Vegas where is it Elvis or is it one of those?
Question. I don't know, but I know in Japan they do it with Hatsune Miku.
Yeah, but that's different. That's not exactly. That's not a hologram trying to emulate a person. That's actually a digital idol, right?
Yeah.
So
rendering of him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But they did Tupac. They've done. I guess they've done Elvis. They've done multiple. I'm pretty sure
Michael Jackson, I think, is also in there.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure David Hasselhoff is going to voluntarily upload himself into a computer and actually,
only if Kit rolls out there.
Yeah,
immortality for the Hoff, man. Like that's what's going to happen.
You got one. Right, you got one more, Steve.
I got two more for you.
Let's go.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is
John Wick or Neo. Keanu Reeves. What's his signature role?
Like is
it John Wick or is it Neo?
Yeah, there's a right answer and then there's like the answer in your heart, right? Like Neo's the answer. That's that's the defining role. Like he is Neo. He created like a decade worth of a look. Like that film series and his character in it is like, that's It's Neo. However, I enjoy John Wick so much more. Like, I was there for the heyday of the Matrix and all that, but John Wick is just like, its action movie is done right. It's hard not to love. So I want to say John Wick, but it's Neo. It's Neo.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Well,
you're gonna yell at me, but John Wick, because Boban Marjanovic fought him in the library, and I'm a big Boban fan. So
Nice.
got it.
Countryman of mine. So
that's with the heart as well. That's another.
That's right. That's right. No, but I don't know. It's John Wick is so. I don't know what. I don't even know what John Wick is. It's like I didn't even know why I watch it. It's like watching Arnold land on that island and Commando. There's like 700 snipers, and he's just walking down the middle, taking them all out. Right? It's like, why am I watching this? And yet, for some reason, I'm enamored and I'm enjoying it. Like Adriano said, it's like yeah. I don't know.
That's good. That's all good. That's Jay. What do you say?
The reason we watch John Wick is because it brings us back, especially us who grew up in a generation of freaking action stars. It brings us back to that, and basically takes it way over the top. These guys are literally it's worse than gun kata. These guys are literally shooting each other at point blank range. They've got suits, they've got Kevlar suits which are thinner than paper, and they're freaking and John Wick, just the battle fatigue alone, he should have died in the first. His heart attack, he should have had a heart attack after the first two people he fought. Like, there's no way you can keep up that level of adrenaline, and you will collapse. Like, it's absolutely crazy. But it's that primal nature that we have as human beings, that this guy just keeps getting up after he keeps getting knocked down, right? But the real reason,
Luke.
Absolutely. But the real reason we watch here's the secret. The real reason we watch John Wick is the real reason we're going to watch Superman. It's the puppy. It's the dog. The dog is the real reason why we watch these two. When I saw Crypto running through that freaking, I was like, okay, this movie.
Crypto stole.
I've seen enough. I've seen all the movie that I need to see. I'm like, freaking Crypto just rescued Superman. I'm like, all right, that's perfect.
Did you guys? Did you guys see how it should have ended? The Super Cafe talking about Crypto. They made a very excellent point. It's they're gonna kill Crypto, right? Like, that's the point they made, and it's like, oh my god, they are. Yeah, that's James Gunn's MO, right? Get the cute thing and kill it. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that if that's gonna happen.
It is the dogs. The dogs are the reason why we watch those things. But the greatest role that Keanu Reeves has ever played is Ted. Ted is the greatest role ever. He is.
There you go.
The greatest.
That's all right.
He's option, eh?
He's not even acting. He's his greatest role.
All right. So since we have 3 now for Keanu, I'm not even going to be the tiebreaker because I didn't vote on the others. Here's this next one, and then to wrap it up, I'll finish with 2 more.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, that was too easy.
Yeah, that was
Walt. Walt's killing me. So let's start with Walt. Rocky or Rambo?
Rocky Balboa. Got to be Rocky. Yeah, it's even the story of how he kept the script and he fought for the script and he just he believed in that character and that made Sylvester Stallone and independent movie making, all that kind of. It was just as much as Rocky is a hero from nothing story, that making of Rocky is a hero from nothing story, and it just kind of sets Stallone on a pinnacle. I think, Rocky all day.
Okay, Jay, what do you think?
All right, I'm gonna default here. So basically, Lincoln Hawk is the greatest role that he's ever played. Over the top, Lincoln Hawk. Okay, he's, the freaking. I thought you would have gone for like Nighthawks or something.
No, man, Judge Dredd or something.
Yeah.
You know what? I might change my mind there, but no, seriously, the move where he freaking he grabs the thing and No, I was just kidding. No, I agree. Rocky is the I'm gonna echo everything that Walter said. I mean, like, he was nobody. He was a nobody actor, and he wrote that damn film, right? He wrote the film. He wrote the screenplay. And I mean, the only other movie people even remember him for was a softcore porn. I mean, like that was the
Oh,
you know what
that's
I mean?
true.
It was
that's
just, and
true.
he was on drugs when he did that other film. It was just absolutely ridiculous. But no, like the story of an of adversity, you know, being a 2-bit enforcer, you know what I mean, coming up from Philadelphia and becoming, you know, the heavyweight champion of the world. But I love the ending. The ending of the first Rocky is so human, and it is so unlike a Hollywood film that I really enjoyed it. You know, he lost, right? Spoilers ahead for anybody who hasn't seen Rocky yet. He loses. He loses. And you know what? If you actually watch, what I really enjoyed about the Rocky films as well, is how realistic. Now, obviously, the fighting is so unrealistic, but how realistic they try to make the humanity of it, right? At the beginning of the second Rocky film, what do you see? You see Apollo and Rocky, and what the aftermath of actually going through something like a boxing match between two heavyweight boxers. They are completely wrecked. Both of them are in the hospital. They're both hooked up to IVs. Apollo can barely move. Rocky actually wanders over to him to actually thank him for the chance. And again, just a real pure drama, and the pacing and everything like that, you just don't get that in films today. So 100% Rocky, absolutely, like hands down.
Walt, I think you wanted to say something.
I wanted to say something before we go to Adriano. I'm a terrible actor, but I'm gonna act out 30 seconds of Rocky's trainer. I think it's from Rocky Rocky 2.
Mickey? Or whatever his name is.
Yeah, where he goes, he wants to fight him again, and his trainer goes, "I saw you beat that man like I seen no man get beat before, and the man kept coming after you. Now we don't need that kind of man." Right. So anyway, I love that line.
That was Burgess, right?
You're a bum.
Oh yes, Burgess. Adriano, you.
Oh man, Italian stallion all day, right? Rocky. Right. That's it. But like the meta narrative of it's so Jay, you mentioned that first movie, like he loses, but it's like the win of like nobody thought he could do it, and he didn't go down. He didn't get knocked out, right? Like he made it. He made it to the end, and he lost by decision. But he proved everyone wrong. Yeah. But Hollywood being Hollywood and people being people, they're like, but he lost. Missing the point entirely that it was about his personal win, right? Yes. So what happens in the second one? He wins, right? And then what? It just escalates and escalates. And now in Rocky IV, he's fighting all of Russia through Ivan Drago. And you know what I mean? It just keeps like they don't know what to do but to try to do the same thing but bigger. So
just trying to make money is what they're trying to do.
Yes. Yeah, well that's it, right? It starts with this humble, like indie style movie and becomes this beast. And then and then they course correct with Rocky Balboa, right? And that is actually like a proper ending after the failure of Rocky V. So just seeing how a franchise can kind of hit almost every note, good and bad, all the way through. Like it's the perfect franchise, even when it's awful, even when he has his weird robot made thing going on and all that. Like excellent franchise end to end. Honestly, I love it so much. Rocky, easy.
All right, great. All right, I got two more. So
I want to guess one of them. I feel like it's not that one. All right. That's a good one, though.
Who wants to start on this one? Who wants to start?
I'll start first. Yeah. I'll start. It's Harley Quinn. Barbie, like, okay. If anybody's playing Barbie, it's Margot Robbie. Like, it's just perfect. Like, 100% made sense. That movie doesn't do half as well if it's not Margot Robbie in the role. So, but Harley Quinn, like, again, I always look at it as, can it like surpass the little bubble we live in of comic books and comic movies and all that? Harley Quinn absolutely did, right? Yeah. And we all loved Harley Quinn before, again, as comics fans and that, like watching the animated series, we all were all in, but she made Harley Quinn a like premier character both in the comics and film and everything. Every Halloween, you see them everywhere, right? Like she made it her own, but made it huge beyond anything Harley's ever been before. So yeah, it has to be Harley Quinn. Like Barbie was already fading, whatever, but Barbie was Barbie. But Harley Quinn, like, well beyond her role, like just made it something entirely different. Like now Harley's in everything, right? And that wouldn't have happened without her taking on the role the way she did.
Yeah. Walt.
I was afraid you would say that.
We can defer to Jay. We can defer to Jay.
No. This is to test to you guys' humanity. I honestly have not seen her in either of these. So. I know. But hey, we can be civil without me being a full participant in every single aspect of pop culture. Sure. That's my point. Sure. Barbie. Just trying to be
you just did a coin flip there, man.
But if you think of box office though, Walt, you're not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like Barbie smashed it.
Yeah.
And as an iconic figure itself, Barbie outstrips.
I don't know, and the reason I say this, I know enough about both movies. I haven't seen them, but I know enough about both movies. Harley Quinn is such a massive presence in comics. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she surpassed that level, but I do know that, Barbie's this kind of inanimate doll that nobody really gives a personality to at all, right? And she brought that to life, right? And so that is like, she elevated Barbie to a 10 times higher level than she would have elevated Harley Quinn. I don't even know if she elevated Harley Quinn, is my point. She represented Harley Quinn in the movies, but Harley Quinn already has this, you follow me? I don't know.
Yeah, because was it Andrea Romano? I don't know, maybe she was one of the directors, but whoever the voice actor was for Harley Quinn, like Mr. J, like she's pretty iconic, right? And so you think of that actress, and then you think of who was in Big Bang Theory and played Penny.
What's her
name? Slips. Yeah. So she's Harley in the, I guess, the latest DC animated series that ran for 2 seasons, and then obviously of the live action version, right? So you're right, like Harley lives outside of Margot Robbie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So there is that. So Jay?
I'll be honest with you. I was trying to be clever and figure out if there are any more iconic roles. But honestly, she really took Harley Quinn to the next level, 100%. And Barbie is an iconic role for her for sure. They're probably going to do a part 2 very, very soon as well. But I think that Harley Quinn did exist long before Margot Robbie came around, and I think that as a DC character, she became because when you think about it, she actually never really existed outside of the animated series. Like that was actually her first real appearance. There was no Harley Quinn prior to that.
Batman Adventures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, just straight Batman the animated series, the very first series.
Yeah, like Paul Dini, right?
Yeah.
So, and I really do think that, she elevated that presence after the fact too, because after that she became more of a household name at that point. Because again, every little girl wanted to be, just like Adriano said, every little girl wanted to be a Harley Quinn at Halloween. It was crazy, and even today. At every single Halloween, there's always a Harley Quinn costume. When before it was more like a jester outfit, right? A sexy jester outfit. That was basically it. This one, like, you don't see that anymore. It literally has the script is flipped. So
yeah, especially the Suicide Squad version.
Yes, that one in particular.
At cons. Oh,
you go to cons. The cosplaying at cons is heavy Harley Quinn all the time. Every con.
Oh yeah,
quite a bit. Yeah. So I would have to say that, but you don't want to discount her role as Barbie. I mean, like in terms of that, it's a $1 billion movie. Like I'm not even sure Mattel really knew what they were getting into at that point. They knew it was going to be big. I think everybody knew Barbie was going to be big, but I didn't think they thought it was going to like smash records for a film about a freaking doll. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really thought that. So yeah.
All right.
But
So
Harley Quinn.
Cool. So this is the last one.
Can I guess the last one before you do
Go
it?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, Mark Hamill. No,
You're absolutely correct.
that's probably the hardest one though.
Save the best for last.
No, that's easy. Come on.
Is it? Okay, you go.
Is it though?
First then.
Is it?
I'll
Is
go
it though?
first. I think it's Skywalker. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe because he's been around for 47 years, right? So that's just kind of seeped into every nook and cranny and crevice in popular culture around the world. Skywalker, Mark Hamill and Skywalker. And I think what does it for me too is, just my hatred for him in the last few movies where he's just some whiny bitch.
Drinking his milk.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's not even his milk. It's not even his milk.
What are you doing?
If it was his milk, then I'd be like, all right.
But yeah, to me, it's Skywalker.
Jay? Yeah, you know what? It's not as easy a question, right? I mean, yes, Skywalker, like Star Wars in general, but to more of a finer point on it, Luke Skywalker has been a generational phenom, right? Like it's been that type of thing. But we're talking about Mark Hamill as an actor,
right?
I'll be honest with you. So here's the thing.
Your signature role?
Well, this is the thing, right? So I watched the animated series and I was absolutely in love with it. It was only when I was in college when I was like, talking about one of my favorite cartoons, right? When I was a kid, blah 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 blah, and I was like, yeah, that Joker was insane. And then one of my friends just said, yeah, can you believe it's Mark Hamill? And I looked at him like he was an idiot. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, and then I said, you're so wrong about that. I looked it up. I was like, oh my God, I'm so wrong about that. Because the range, like what he does to his voice, what he brings to the character is just absolutely stunning. Because what's the first thing? Here's the difference, right? What is it that, like, immediately when you say, hey, Mark Hamill, 90% of the people in the room are going to say, oh yeah, the Star Wars kid, right? But only the true fans are going to say, fucking Joker, man. Like, seriously, I think that's really what happens there. Like, he has gone. One of the genius things about Mark Hamill is after Star Wars he did a Spock kind of thing, right? Where he's like, I absolutely don't ever want to do that role ever again. It's the one role I never want to have to do in my lifetime. And of course, money talks. But then he just decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna keep acting because that's what I love to do. Right? He was in a movie called Guyver, and it's so underrated. So underrated. And he stole every scene he was in. He was the fucking trickster, for crying out loud.
Yes, the OG like, Flash.
So I mean, like, he literally just decided, I'm gonna make my career what it's gonna be. Like, I don't want to walk into a casting office and say, "Oh, Mark, we don't have any Star Wars roles for you today." You know what I mean? He didn't want to do that. So what did he do? He fucking picked up his fucking career and said, "I'm gonna make my career what it is," and he freaking made the Joker. Right? He created this fucking character called the Joker. And to this day, no one can top that fucking Joker. So,
like, even live action, you could argue that his Joker stands up with Heath Ledger's and Jack Nicholson.
Does absolutely 100%.
You can argue that.
But it's not as easy a question. It really isn't. That's
a tough one.
It's not as black and white as you think. But if I had to, if just because, again, the two characters, one is a meme. They're both memes. Sorry, they're both memes. They're both
memes.
They're both. They are both in the lexicon of our culture now. You know what I mean? Yeah. They have gone beyond what they're supposed to be, right? Yeah. The Joker was never supposed to be an icon. The Joker was supposed to be the villain of the week for Batman. You know what I mean? And now he's this huge thing, right? Yeah. So and I do mean this, by probably a very slim margin, I would have to say the Joker. Like it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to answer. That is insane. And damn you for freaking putting that in my head. That's just damn you.
Adriano, you're gonna wrap this up by by giving us your take on it.
All right. So yeah, for me, I mean, so I agree with Walter in the sense that, like, again, the like iconography of it, it's Luke Skywalker, but for me personally, it's Joker, and it's just based on the fact of like you mentioned Heath Ledger and all that, like they all have their own interpretations, and it's a very different, and that's the best thing about the Joker, that everybody can do a different take, and it's still correct. But he took the one from the comic book, the clown, and made it real, right? So when I'm reading the comics with the Joker, the voice I'm hearing is that voice, right? I'm not hearing Heath Ledger. I'm not hearing, definitely not hearing Jared Leto, but that's the voice.
Or Jack Nicholson.
Or Jack Nicholson or any, right? Like I'm hearing Mark Hamill's voice as I'm reading those pages because he's taking the role. That's his role, and I think it's because of that. It's because it's the closest to the comic that we've had. Right? Like, usually it's the movies influence the comics. That one feels like that is the Joker from the comics on the screen, and he made it real. So for that, I give it to Joker, right? It has to be, but yeah, like yes, the man on the street, it's Skywalker. That's how they know Mark Hamill. So yeah. It's,
like I said, 90
man on the street.
Yeah. 90% of the people in the room are gonna say oh, it's Luke Skywalker. But the smart people in the room, again, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know until college. I was like, I would love to find out who that. Oh, it's Mark Hamill. What the fuck? Like seriously, I lost my mind when I read, and that's the sign of a great performance. That's just
and I think like you guys all gave great answers, and I think like in some ways there's no wrong answer because I think some of these are generational.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Like if you're of a certain vintage,
well. Steve, if I can cut in real quickly, and again, because I'm a little older, and I didn't consume the Joker cartoon.
Exactly.
Right.
So I don't have the luxury of being awed by what he did with that. So I didn't have that I'm like, to me, it was an easy one. It's a damn voiceover on a cartoon. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But you see,
exactly.
you guys are bright. I'm listening to you guys and I'm going, Jesus Christ, I've obviously missed something here, right? So you're right. There is no wrong answer.
I guess a classic example would be if you're of a certain age, Roger Moore, is he James Bond or is he the Saint? Right.
Right.
Like Katniss Everdeen or Mystique. Is that who's Jennifer Lawrence? Like, there's a lot of them. Man with No Name and Dirty Harry. So depending on how old you are and who was big at the time, and do you cross genres? Is it because like we didn't even get into gaming or anything like that?
Yeah.
Like how much of an impact do these actors have on the characters that they play?
Yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned it, like Blondie and Harry, right? Like those are two hugely iconic characters. But the thing is that by the time you get to Harry, there are a lot of people who didn't even know he was in any of the spaghetti westerns, right? So it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for coming to the asylum. Adriano, Walt, I really appreciate it. Before we go, we're going to start with Walt. Where can people find you, and what do you have coming up next?
Well, I mean, just going on to that Ice Collectible site that you showed them already is great, Steve, and the YouTube Ice Collectibles on YouTube. If anybody wants to ever come say hi, I'm at Big B Comics on Upper James and Hamilton. And I'm just having a busy year being a YouTuber. Yay.
Nice. Welcome to the club. And Adriano, where can we find you?
I'm going to Big B. That place is awesome. So
it's a great shop. Great shop.
Yeah, my years in Hamilton, I was frequenting there, so I'm a big fan. But for myself, I'm easy to find. I'm Pesto Comics on everything. So I got the Kickstarter going on, Naked Kaiju Woman. And then real quick, I want to mention, so talking about YouTubers, we're on YouTube as well. Steve, we had you as a guest on the Instant Comic Book Podcast.
Yeah, so, it's a great one. I had a great time on that.
Yeah, right. So a lot of fun. We make a one-page comic together. We get people on and we just kind of talk about whatever, kind of like what we do here, but at the end of it we get a one-page comic that we made together. So a lot of fun. It was great having you on. That was a great episode. A lot of people watched it. So
that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I had a great time.
But yeah, that you can find instantinkpodcast.xyz. That's the website for that one, or Pesto Comics. It'll take you there as well. Yeah, thanks for having me. By the way, this was a lot of fun.
Awesome, this was our pleasure. And Jay, anything to say before we ship out?
Yeah, first of all, it's always great to be on Comix Asylum Live. I want to thank our very special guests, Walter and Adriano. You guys are killing it. Adriano, keep pumping out those naughty comics of yours. They look amazing. And of course, they're not really naughty. They're not really naughty. It's actually tongue-in-cheek and a lot of fun. I mean, just looking at the comic style, everything about it. Guys, please support your independent comic creators. And of course, your local comic book shops, 100%. Yes. Ice is looking pretty damn dope. Would love to pick up some of those comics if I ever get rich. And of course, Walter, thank you again for coming and giving us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
Imparting us with your wisdom, sir. And of course, that painting is epic as myself and Comics was alluding to in the comment section. One other thing I wanted to mention as well, for anybody who is watching, I was going to give this away tonight, actually, courtesy of our good friends over at TitanToys.com. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, so I'm going to extend this giveaway until Friday, and we are going to be giving this away on Titan Toys. So, guys, if you are interested in the Aces of Aviation, speaking of another wonderful face, this is, can you name him? It's Tom. Go ahead.
Selleck.
No, not Tom Selleck. It's
it's my guess, to be honest.
it's Viper from Top Gun. So
nice.
I think
it's Scarrett.
That's Scarrett. That's right. There we go. He's still alive, by the way. I didn't even realize that. Like dude's hanging on.
Doing all right.
Great actor. He was in a whole host of films. So basically, tune in for that on Friday when we give that away. Huge shout out to our good friends over at TitanToys.com. But Steve, another one of the books, and take it away, brother.
Absolutely. So everyone, I want to again thank Adriano and Walter for coming in. Jay, it was a pleasure spending the last couple of hours and a half with you. Everyone who was in the comments, thank you for all of your participation and interest in the show. And we're going to roll it out. And remember, everyone, keep it indie. Now